All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome in, welcome in. We are live back on a Tuesday night, jumping on a little later than normal. And if I have to be honest about why we're late, ayo, it is what it is. We pride ourselves in honesty on the Rem and Sam pod. We were listening to Still Ballin' by Tupac. We were just freestyling along. It is what it is. We were dropping bars. I can't say that we were in a flow state per se, but it is what it is. I guess we just had to write it out, catch just let the rhythm stop. It is what it is. But should we? I didn't know this episode was going to be our debut single, but should IT? I don't know. Can we cue the music up in the background? Do we get the rights if the bars are fire enough? Do we get the rights to the beat? I don't know, but should we? James Harden. He's traded for Darius Garland, and he's got to get a new apartment. Didn't even know there was a market. Chat. Do we go through the whole verse? I don't even know. Hey, it is what it is. I guess we didn't write it down, but it's topical. It's brand new. I mean, the news is just it's pretty fresh. It is what it is. It literally is like a refresh poll level of earliness at this point. Ayo, it is what it is. What are we seeing on the ESP? I guess an hour ago they have the main article dated anyways for this. So, again, hot off the press at this point of the trade happening. And who knows? It seems like, I don't know, it seemed like, we were kind of building up in the trades over the course of the day. The James Harden trade, obviously a headlining type trade. So, it's obviously not guaranteeing it's the last move of the trade deadline, week here, but next couple of days. But maybe tonight this seems like a headliner type of move for the night. So we'll see. But as we were poking around beforehand. There was like the Draymond conversation now starting to happen in Golden State, and I guess we'll see if it's just starting to happen. I don't know how quickly a move will materialize there. It is what it is. But again, there is obviously with the trade deadline happening. We're really starting to pick up at this point. The GMs, getting some of these trades in before the deadline. You really like to see just being on top of it, not having to wait till the last minute pause. It is what it is. For these guys, Nico Harrison last year set the bar. Trading Luka Doncic like a week out, so you just gotta be proactive, I guess. And obviously getting into the moves. But as I'm sitting, obviously they're going through them. We got the games on in the background as well too. So just recapping the broadcaster, recapping the news of the day throughout that. And we've got Hawks Heat on the background. I mean, CJ McCollum, of course, and Trae Young, probably the first big move of just the trading season in the NBA for this year. But it does seem like, and I don't know, again, a lot of these moves are just of today, but looking at some of the, and I guess we'll dig further into the details here. So I don't know if we can necessarily say bigger picture proclamations at this point without having totally delving into all the moves, because I get we were trying to follow along at the TVs at the restaurant, wandering around, you looking over every now and then. It's like, wait, who got traded? Oh, okay, maybe we don't have to step away for that trade. I don't know. It is when we saw Ivy got traded, it was like, is that a pull out the phone type trade? But I guess James Harden would have been a pull out the phone. Giannis, if Giannis gets traded, we're ripping it out, Chad. It is what it is. But we got to check the ESPN. We got to see the details. We got to know what happened. But so but to kind of see what some of the details were anyways for the day. And again, thinking about just the overall move of it being Harden for Garland and what that type of move means. But also they did show the Ivy details a second ago, and it did seem a little lighter than Ivy being a first round pick, top 7 type guy who necessarily hasn't I would say I guess we can talk about what the draft trade stock looks like now, but personally, and maybe there's some injury stuff in there as well too, but I guess the basketball player of Ivy still, a really talented basketball player is just the easiest way to say it. So, in the modern NBA with the second apron, is there just a sort of give up factor that you have to have with these guys, or a willingness that you have to just, cut your losses at that point and just move on? And, I guess the confusing part is because what I was seeing when I saw this at work at ESPN on the TV was that the headline was Minnesota was clearing cap space to pursue Giannis, but is Detroit doing the same thing as well too? Because I didn't see necessarily what Detroit would get back in the trade. I mean, minutes and just them committing to whatever core they have there, I guess, is part of it. And maybe the Ivy side of the team as well too, knowing that they have more pieces in place now. It doesn't seem like Ivy's still really talented, but obviously this team has become a really, really good basketball team without him necessarily having to be there. So maybe his team was going to Detroit and being like, hey, we need to find him a different opportunity here to, justify his basketball stuff. And I don't know did he sign an extension in Detroit? Probably not. I don't know if he's at that point yet, but he's got to be really close if he's not. So, again, having that starting opportunity, being able to maximize your success is, of course, going to be important to landing that deal. I mean, it would, again, be difficult. I guess what would be a max? Because, it's not like he has had it, with all due respect to Ivy, like the awards things to raise his contract level up a little bit. But, I would still assume he would be, again, with just the talent that he's shown, a near max guy in the modern NBA. It is what it is. But, again, Harden for Garland, I guess if we were just, trying to work off his theory anyways and see what this trade is. And, maybe it's just a classic, like, a new era of where, shout out our guy Bill Simmons, the old Bill Simmons, shout out old YouTube Bill Simmons, shout out ESPN Bill Simmons. He would have always have made fun of sort of the inability, it seemed like, for the GMs to align the player values with the fans, or otherwise, maybe he would say it. The GMs are just making bad, dumb moves. It is what it is. But, and not to say that, again, you can investigate the Harden Garland, trade from multiple angles. But it does seem like a little bit more, and the instantaneousness of is that even a word, of the trades? Obviously the Luka for Davis trade, moving up the timeline there. And speaking of injuries with Ivy, I mean, Garland, of course, I guess the main reason that you would probably have James Harden at this point over the last couple of years as of, a better player is the fact that Garland hasn't necessarily been on the court. And, with all due respect to basketball, what are we searching here, Chad? With all due respect to James Harden, he still has been a really good, like an all-star level player over the last couple of years. There's the conversation of him being in the MVP race, of course, at one point, a decade ago now. Maybe stretching a little bit further than that as well. But, you get the MVP race in there, and then the all-star conversation. But, regardless, of course, he's still hovering in those all-star tiers. And, again, for him as well, too, the playoff stuff is going to be, of course, the bigger part of the talking points when, when you mention James Harden's legacy there, unfortunately. But over the last couple years, I guess you can't necessarily say, that Garland is, Garland is a better player. The upside, whatever in the future stuff is like way more than Harden. I mean, that is the part at the end of the day that is a little confusing from Cleveland, because you would think that, the timeline that you would have with Darius Garland and Mitchell, obviously the contract stuff is a little tough these days. It is what it is. But just the timeline, the basketball timeline of those guys, you'd have more, opportunity, more seasons to be able to build winning franchises around them. But again, just at least over the last couple of years, it's been somewhat close. But hey, Harden, 36. It is what it is. I mean, in some ways, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell could be a fun team. And the East is so weird this year that, are we sitting here saying that this move is going to necessarily win the Cavs the title? And I guess maybe that's the bummer as well, too, at the end of the day, because you could have traded Garland for something that maybe could have, would it have been a 1-for-1 move that all of a sudden that move wins you the title? But again, if you're now all of a sudden getting under the second apron or splitting up the salaries in multiple ways, getting a little bit more depth, maybe the team makes a little bit more sense around Mitchell and Mobley. You just more, plug and play guys. But, it does seem like there is a version where you're either one trade, 2 trades away from a Garland move to winning a title, or at least being in the title with the way the East is. I know, saying a team is 2 trades away, now we're getting a little bit out there. But, and I maybe James Harden's salary is a little less than Garland. He might be in like the 30, is he 25 million? I guess probably maybe a little shorter. Some less years for Harden. He's 33.6 this year. $42 million player option next year. So he has taken the gambles. If he wants to just re-sign another 2-1 with a player option situation like that, he could definitely opt out just to re-up that type of deal again, for sure. But could definitely just take the money if the re-up for him is going to be, in the $20 to $25 million year range going forward, 27. But I guess for the all NBAs again, I don't know what his, would his minimum be 30? I doubt it. But Garland right now, so he would be through 27, 28, 39, 42, and 44 to 27, 28, 36 right now. I guess we could have assumed that their contracts would have been similar because, again, it's really just the 1-for-1. And then the Clippers also getting a second-round pick as well. And I guess maybe that's the other thing is, like, James Harden just, obviously a better trade. Not obviously, again, a second-round pick is the difference. But basically the equivalent of Darius Garland. I don't know. I guess he's not worth the first-round pick, or James Harden's worth, like, maybe 2 first-round picks still in the, in 2025, 26. I don't know. I'm just trying to, and the Spurs do, of course, have a lot of assets. So maybe, there is a thing where if you have a lot of picks, you just sort of throw them into trades. It's like, okay, if you're trading with the Spurs, well, all of a sudden, it's just going to be, the trade is, 2 contracts and 3 first-round picks, and now all of a sudden you got James Harden. But I'm just trying to picture what the trade would be. Not necessarily that we're saying that, Harden to the Spurs is the ideal move here, but just, again, to assess the value, or Garland to the Spurs as well. I would assume if the Spurs got Garland for, we don't necessarily have, we do, I guess, have Fox on, like a $30-some million a year contracts. But, looking at this trade, you're not necessarily going to trade those two guys straight up. Cleveland would have to be throwing in first-round picks at that point. It is what it is. But if it was, you don't want to throw out a name, but if it was like, it would have to be, again, multiple contracts at that point. And Cleveland, I guess Cleveland also can't even parlay guys into deals, so it has to be a 1-for-1 as well, too. So I guess that is part of it. A little handicap there. So I guess we'll give him a pass at that. But they chose, of course, the player over the, the whatever the pick situation would be. And, again, maybe that wasn't there as well. And, again, for Garland, like we're saying, he is still a very, very talented point guard for sure. If you're the Clippers, just to reset as well and get a guy that, at least is like, okay, there's a little bit of future here, is, a breath of fresh air that they haven't had in a while, to be honest, because, unfortunately, it is what it is. They did, I guess, the opposite of this back when they got Kawhi anyways. Obviously they got Harden a little bit after that, but back when they got Kawhi, of course, they punted on the Shai Gilgeous-Alexander team, and, we all know why they did it. They got Kawhi and Paul George. It's a little understandable looking back. You don't want to be too harsh on them. They just were like, well, they just panicked and gave the Thunder everything. It is what it is, but they got 2 pretty good players, I guess, unfortunately, I guess, it just didn't work out. But, for them, like we're saying, Shai didn't necessarily get to fully develop into that, this could be the franchise type guy. If there was definitely hints of him being, hints is definitely, a little weak, obviously more than hints, but there was, definite signs of him being a very, very valuable player to a team. And again, are we sitting here saying that Darius Garland now has the same upside as Shai back then? I guess we're not, is it equivalent there? Who knows? Get Darius Garland this year. 45, 36. Honestly, that's not too bad. 18 points a game. Where's he at? Turnovers, 2.8. So, kind of in the same range where he was last year. Same with assists. Scoring down is basically just that 3-point% number, which I guess it just fluctuates year to year. So next year, I guess the Clippers can get 40% 3-point shooting Darius Garland, if that's how it works. Because, his second year, 39.5 is basically 40. I guess 38%. 37, again, 37 to 36. Now we're just being strict as NBA fans. It is what it is. But, he got somehow, I guess he's literally 0.1, he's 2.3 makes per game at 6.2 attempts in 23-24 at 37.1. And he's 2.3 makes per game at 6.3 attempts at 36%. in 25-26. So it is like if you were like look at his 3-point percentage, you would probably take the 37% one and put it in the good season and the 36 in the bad season. But it's literally like, a tenth of a percent, a tenth of a three per game off. So, maybe we can't necessarily criticize him again like hey, I guess we'll be respectful of Darius Garland's game. It is what it is. But it is, again, because of the health stuff and, is he maybe defensively going to be, always the there could be some two-way question marks there with him in building some lineups for sure. But again, they haven't necessarily had that, just younger player with some upside. We can kind of, again, do you gear a team toward Garland? But at least he could be the piece. He can be a piece of something going forward. And he is, still a guy that is a distributor as well, too. Like, he's not going to distract from anything too much. I know there was conversations about whose team it would have been, Garland and Mitchell's team. So maybe, hey, now we're raising personality question marks about Darius Garland. I don't know. But I still don't necessarily know why that would have been, on the court. Question marks about their games overlapping. Because, again, two dynamic guards playing together. Not like we haven't seen that before. And I guess they also, of course, have Mobley and, Allen to some degree as well, too, to get involved offensively. But, it's not like Mobley has to take 20 shots a game. It seems like he's pretty content kind of, being a role player in a sense on offense. But, again, Garland has a good balance as a distributor and can be a little bit of an off-ball three-point shooter. So Mitchell as an attacker and, getting to the basket, but also when he gets on fire from their perimeter, like it just seems like in theory it should work. So, again, to have at least that type of piece on the team now is a new look for them. And, like we're saying, not taken away from anybody. So, not to say that he would take away from Kawhi in a sense. Is he better for the Clippers than Kawhi? But maybe just the vibes there will be a change. I don't know, but I am worried for him going to the Clippers though, because that is of course the franchise that is notorious for being a little bit of a graveyard for players like that. I guess because of the fact that they did have that Lob City run, so a lot of people our age, in a sense, growing up watching basketball, it's not like the Clippers were the worst franchise ever. I mean, they were. Obviously, we're talking about the on-the-court product there. Behind the scenes, they were definitely the worst. Whatever you want to say about Ballmer, I guess, unless I'm forgetting something, it seems like Ballmer is a better owner. Hey, shout out to Steve Ballmer. It is what it is. But, again, in terms of them being a basketball team, like that was still, a very competitive team. I guess even a little bit before that, like, some of the Elton Brand years, like, again, they were okay. So it wasn't necessarily like the disastrous Clippers of the 20th century, but there is still that stereotype of the franchise, where it's they don't get the players' best years, and it is, and Kawhi as well too. Like Kawhi playing well when he's on the court maybe is a little bit of a kind of throws you off of that Clippers curse in a sense. But again, I guess you're reminded constantly of the fact that, what the seasons are and the fact that he isn't on the court. So, I guess I'm not saying that Garland can't play well, but I don't know. It just seems like something's, you hate to say it. You hate to say it. But it just seems like something would happen on the Clippers franchise. Again, I'm not going to say injuries or anything, but, it seems, it's not like, I guess, we're not going to sit here and speak for Kawhi, but it doesn't seem, it's not like we've seen Kawhi time and time again, like, have gruesome injuries on the basketball court. And it's like, oh, man, how has he had these, like, 17 different fluke things happen? Like, I can't believe, the Clippers franchise is so unfortunate. Again, and I guess that is the disadvantage of, like, Paul has, like, a soft tissue injury. But, for the most part, it has been things along those lines, the unseen things of like, oh, he's strained the hamstring for a long time, and oh, the quad is now messed up, the calf is doing this. I guess, of course, going all the way back to San Antonio, the original injury when he rolled his ankle is, like actual, we have proof, we saw that he got hurt. It is what it is. But again, so I'm not necessarily saying that Garland's gonna have like a disastrous run when it, you hate to even, I guess, throw that stuff out there. It is what it is. But it just seems like there's gonna be like maybe, I don't know, like half of the time, and you just a lot of like games with Garland in hoodies or something. Maybe he does, he'll fit that anyways. The Clippers hoodie All-Stars. You got Kawhi sitting on the sideline. You got Darius Garland over there. Hey, yo. So, shout out. Poor Darius Garland. He gets traded. He gets a new start. He's in LA. Clutch Sports. So, he got so close to the Lakers, but at least they got him out to Los Angeles. Maybe a little bit of an upgrade there. So, Harden, I don't know. Shout out. He's been able to stay in the major cities for quite a while. I guess, OKC, he started his career there. But since then, traded to Houston. And then, unless I'm missing one, Houston, Brooklyn. Did he go back to Houston where it was just Houston, Brooklyn, LA? I know. I feel like I am missing one now at this point. Hey, yo, we have to go back. What is the James Harden timeline? No, yeah, Houston, Brooklyn, and then is this 2 different LA jerseys here? What's going on? I guess we can just go down, pause, and see. Philly. Hey, yo, that's the team that I'm forgetting. But yeah, still a big city team. So, hey, yo, the club scene for James Harden in Cleveland, I guess we'll have to get on. We'll have to get on the Yelp and see what's going on. What are the 5-star? Do we have ChatGPT? What's going on in Cleveland? What's the scene look like? Should we ask? I'm almost tempted to ask. If we were James Harden and we just got traded to Cleveland, what's the first club we would hit? Okay, it's too good of a question. It is what it is. Here, wait. I'll have to, I guess, make sure we're logged into the right ChatGPT. Hey, yo, let me make sure that we are good to go. We should be. I hope IT didn't use a personal account the other day, but just to make sure that they are all safe. Don't want to put their business out there. Okay, pause. Ayo. Let's see. We should be. Oh, wait a second. Now we're fat fingering the buttons. IT, how do you work this computer? Okay, there we go. We are back. Let's see what is going on here. Okay. So, and I don't know, will ChatGPT let us impersonate a celebrity? We'll have to see. If we were, maybe it won't. Well, it's got to promote the local businesses, so it's got to tell us something. If we were James Harden and just got traded to Cleveland, I mean, well, I guess, LeBron's a family man as well, too. So I guess, I'm sure they've had to have some team events, AO. But, so, I don't know if he can get some recommends. Are they on talking? Does James Harden talk? I don't know. Who does James Harden talk to in the league? But if we were James Harden just got traded to Cleveland, what clubs would we hit first? So let's see if the ChatGPT has some good recommendations for James Harden now that he's in Cleveland. He's going to have to really, I guess, search the streets for some good entertainment. It is what it is. Hey, yo, what does that mean? Here's Cleveland most Harden-coded spot. Whoa, ChatGPT says Cleveland's perfect for James Harden. Is he going to take over the town? Bottle service, dim lighting, DJ heavy, models everywhere in Cleveland? Oh, okay. ChatGPT is giving it some good reviews. Hey, yo, you love to see it. Big enough for superstar entrances without feeling like a college bar. Private sections where you can disappear with your crew or not. Athletes already treat it like default I'm him location. I don't even really know what that means, but I mean, I guess it's cool. Backup rotation spots. Okay, backup slash. So did we miss the prime spots? What happened? Here we go. First stop, FWD Day Plus Nightclub. No debate. Hey, yo, okay. So are we doing some research for James Harden? James Harden, lock in. We got you here, buddy. We're seeing what's going on. I don't know if we're gonna have to open up an incognito tab. Can we look up this on a work computer? Hey, yo. Okay, what do we got here? Concert plus venue. Hey, yo, whoa, outdoor space involved as well. So I don't know. Maybe right now, is it in the middle of winter? Is James Harden? I mean, would that stop him? Would snow stop James Harden from partying? We'll have to have. Maybe that's the next question for ChatGPT. I don't know, but okay, shout out. So definitely, I guess the easy answer then for Cleveland. We're not locked in on Cleveland nightlife for. I guess, Ayo, exposed chat. We're not well traveled. We haven't gone to Cleveland. so we don't know. It is what it is. We don't have friends that have gone to Cleveland. Like, let me tell you the stories of this place called Cleveland. Some crazy spots. But Velvet Dog, more chaos, more dancing, late night energy when you want the city buzzing. I mean, this is just great advertisement for the local businesses of Cleveland. So shout out. Again, we're ready to be sold on Cleveland. I'm ready to be talked into the city. It is what it is. Anything obviously close to Ohio State. Oh, Velvet. No, we're just literally getting pictures of Velvet Dogs. Hey, yo. Anything close to Ohio State's going to be a little sketchy, but, we're willing to give Cleveland a chance. As long as it's not Columbus. It is what it is. The Barley House, VIP upstairs, pregame appearances, be seen, quick flex, pregame. Harden's going to be at the Barley House pregame? I mean, he might, chat. Hey, yo. Pre-game appearances, social lounge. I mean, I guess ChatGPT knows what's up for James Harden anyways. Social, low-key, intimate, I just dropped 40 vibes. So the Barley House before the game and the social lounge after. So Harden, we got a timeline here for James Harden. 10:30 p.m. pull-up to the FWD. Make it known. 12:45, we're quick hop over to the Velvet Dog. Once the city's warmed up. And then 2 a.m., vanish mysteriously like nothing happened. Hey, yo, it's a quick warm-up there. Get an hour of prime time. The 1 a.m. prime time in Cleveland. Hey, lock it in. That seems like a lot of fun. If you want, I can pick exact spots. Flip it, say Donovan Mitchell, they don't want to be seen together? Oh, no. ChatGPT already given us, we're going to create a feud in the nightclub between Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. I mean, we can't do that. Again, they could be buddies. Hey, yo. Do we have to look at their agencies and see if they're locked in there? But yeah, shout out to the local businesses of Cleveland. You'll love to see it. So hopefully James Harden's able to have a good time there while he is playing, at least for the rest of this season, on the team. And just any sort of in the middle of the season trade in general is going to be a difficult chemistry thing to be able to pull together a title run as well too. I mean, if you're trading for if you're trading for like a star and now you're going to bring him in, and, if it's like OKC is going to bring in somebody and he's going to be the fourth guy, or if they're bringing in Giannis and it's like you still have 2 to 3 of your core pieces in place where there is a core of the team that already functions with sort of the chemistry aspects there, and you're again bringing, if you're actually now switching what the team is, doing that in the middle of the season can be a little bit difficult. I guess the thing for Cleveland would be, again, there is a similarity there between Harden and Garland in their styles of play, and the fact that they are distributors in a sense. And, again, to credit James Harden, I guess better scorer and better passer to some degree than Darius Garland. So if you're not getting defense, it's like, hey, we might as well just upgrade the offense if we can. So, again, it is going to be, I guess, it's a little bit of the consistency. Like Harden, 44 games, and Garland was at 26 for the season. So shout out. And I guess day to day right now with the toe. So we'll see if that gets healed once he gets to Los Angeles. But yeah, like we're saying, obviously the playoff impact there as well too is definitely going to be a wait and see at this point. Be a little strange. 36 years old in Cleveland is now the season. But I mean, if it's the season where we all finally gave up hope and he got traded, and it's just like James Harden's in Cleveland, then hey, maybe it is what it is. But it is also just a weird franchise pairing again as well too. Like the big market teams, I don't know, it kind of made sense in a way. Like, I guess maybe the fact that it has happened now as well too, so we're just used to the fact that it's a part of the NBA history. But Brooklyn, Philly, Clippers, and maybe he was rumored there as well too for a little bit for those teams. Like there was some definite signs that some of those moves were going to happen. So, again, it's like we were able to adjust to the idea of him being on the team before it even happened. But he is probably, I don't want to be too aggressive with, again, and if we're getting technical about everybody that's ever played in a Cleveland jersey, but he is now like one of the best players ever to play basketball that has now played for the Cleveland franchise. And, again, obviously outside of LeBron, they have had some other really good players as well too. Obviously, LeBron, do we have to even say he's the best one? But if we're just going technically guys that played for Cleveland, Shaq was in a Cleveland jersey. So Shaq is probably the number 2. But if we're going actually the Cleveland franchise, again, that 80s, 90s run for the team, there was that was a really good roster. You got Doherty on that team. Obviously Elo and Mark Price. Mark Price is in some all-star games. Again, same with Doherty. Larry Nance is obviously just a really, really good player from back in the day. But, again, with all due respect to Doherty, James Harden's probably, and, even Harden versus Kyrie as well, too. I guess Kyrie does have the finals playoff stuff a little bit that does go in his favor. But, the regular seasons, with all due respect to how great of a basketball player Kyrie is, just the numbers and the resumes that the guys have, James Harden's regular seasons are just, far superior at the peak of his powers than, maybe far superior now. I'm being aggressive. But, he does have superior regular seasons to Kyrie Irving's stats. It is what it is there. But, yeah, he is definitely, again, weirdly just now, I can't say an iconic, Cleveland guy. But again, with all these, I guess maybe Houston a little bit because, again, obviously you had the 90s run with Hakeem there and T-Mac. And I guess since you have T-Mac kind of being the lead guard, but also the 2 guard, if he has I guess Mitchell, now we're just discounting Mitchell. But, if he has 2 good seasons in Cleveland, I guess is he going to be there 3 seasons in Cleveland? That'd be a little bit of a weird run for the end of his career. So I don't know if we have to even go now what is next for James Harden. Is there going to be that market for him afterwards? It would also of course be what is the player willing to accept in terms of market value and role and those types of things. Is it going to get to the point where he's Russell Westbrook in the offseason and it's okay, teams are only willing to bring him into a minimum? He's going to be, now all of a sudden James Harden's in Sacramento. James Harden's going to be doing the small city tour now that he is maybe, finally moved into a different phase of his career. He goes Cleveland, Sacramento, Indiana, moves around for a little, I don't know how many cities we have to necessarily rank in the second tier. It is what it is there. But, again, is he going to, it doesn't seem like he would be, again, a more than a season and a half option for this team. They're not going to re-sign him to a second deal because you would think that they want the cap flexibility as well, too, to be able to, just to be able to operate in the second apron era and to be able to build the roster around Mobley. I'm sure that there is a timeline at this point as well too with Mitchell on this team. I mean, unless, again, they do win the title or even make the finals, but they might be Mitchell, he might be in a win the title type of mode for Cleveland at this point because, again, even if they make the finals, the East at this point is a little weird. It could be, is it the equivalent of the Patriots path in the AFC this year, where you just look back and it's okay, I don't know if we necessarily feel confident in not to say that the Patriots wouldn't feel confident because again, maybe they're a little bit different having this year be the first iteration of the team, but it's okay, for the Cavs, it's are we confident in this team's ability to continue to be able to put these runs together? But yeah, for the Clippers anyways, it is, again, a good breath of fresh air as well, too. And I am interested, I'm not going to say it's a bad trade for either team. Again, it's a little bit interesting to see what the Cavs decided to do with the Garland piece from a team building standpoint there and just kind of, put it all into the middle of the table now. But for, again, at least the offense this year, I guess their offense could be better. And like we're saying, for the Clippers, at least getting, a fun new type of player in there. And now I guess, it's Kawhi's team all the way, if that means, anything. But, again, he can still play pretty good next to Kawhi as well, too. So it's, it's a fine trade, for kicking off the trade season, trade deadline week in the NBA. But obviously we're not in a title switching type move. At least I wouldn't think so at this point. But again, it would just be you just wouldn't even know who to feel confident in the East at this point. Are the, is New York good enough to consistently put rounds enough together at this point? It doesn't seem like they have a I guess we could probably look up what their longest win streak is of the season. Not necessarily to say you have to do that, of course, to get to the finals. But there just is a level of inconsistency as well throughout the Eastern Conference that makes it a little difficult to project. But yeah, hopefully for Garland, the Clippers curse doesn't come for him. And he's able to, rebound the career a little bit. Because, again, it was, and again, it's how highly do you view his offense as well? Because the defensive questions have always been there to some degree. So as a player, when you're first emerging into the NBA, we're still not necessarily certain on what, we haven't figured out where to criticize you yet all the way around. We haven't seen you in the playoff games and all those things. So, it's still adjusting to how to rank the trade value. And again, what the performances are year to year as well, too, is going to, matter in that type of stuff. But, I mean, he was one of the, if it's just like a timeline of trade value, which maybe is something, I feel like it is something that you have to do now, maybe I'm thinking about it, for a team, is just know, have your own trade value sheet, is that what we're saying? But also keep a timeline and just know it's like, okay, at one point Garland was at this point in these conversations. And, again, if we go look at like all NBA votes, like he's definitely registered all NBA votes in his career. So to be able to, again, if you're the Clippers, pivot a contract into that and at least take the chance on Garland. You know what, for the Clippers, I think he got to give it an A- for the Clippers. If we're going grades here, I just saw this guy give it a B-, so I don't know if we're just being contrary to him. The, B for the Cavs, it is, it's right down Main Street. It's okay. That, like we're saying, they could be a little bit better, but I don't know if it necessarily, changes them big picture for this season or for the next couple. But for the Clippers, I guess it could, again, would they win the title? But at least it could, give you a new sense of life, like we're saying, a new hope. Ayo, it's like just like a Star Wars movie now at this point. Like, I don't know. Shout out Darius Garland. He's a Jedi in the Clippers, or he's not. I guess this tells you we don't know about Star Wars. Is Luke a Jedi in the Star Wars movies? Is that a dumb question? Or at least the first one, right? Luke's not a Jedi in the first one. At least when the first one starts, Luke's not a Jedi. Okay, we gotta have that right. So when does Luke become a Jedi? We gotta ask the ChatGPT, because what he goes and trains in the jungle at one point, and then is he just a Jedi after that? And I guess, I guess just to flex that we maybe do know a little Star Wars lore, I guess the Jedi Order was disbanded at this point. So, I don't know. Was there a proper governing body to be able to, do you have to be anointed a Jedi, or is it just a state? Like, is it just something that you are? Is it a license? Like, are you a practicing Jedi, or, is it like, the Force is obviously, sometimes compared to a religion. Like, would you say that, like, it's like, again, a choice to be a Jedi? Like, I guess maybe it's a little bit of both. Like, you have to choose, I guess in any, you have to choose to go get a license maybe at some point. Or, you could get an honorary doctorate. Are there honorary Jedis? There probably are. There probably are honorary Jedis. Like, hey, you weren't necessarily taking the classes. You weren't, pursuing it directly, but you were out there doing the work, and you should be awarded as such. I guess is Han Solo an honorary? There we go. Would Han Solo be an honorary Jedi at that point? Because again, it's not obviously not the traditional rise that you would have for the Jedi. Not necessarily a 4-year college Jedi type of guy. Did not graduate from Jedi school, but in terms of impact in the galaxy, like, is there anybody more impactful than Han Solo? I guess he was in Carbonite there for a little bit, so I don't know if that hurts our argument, but he was still pretty cool. So obviously, there's going to be some Jedi points for him there. I mean, I don't know if we need a pat on the back, but obviously, Leia is Leia. I mean, Leia is a Force user, right? So I guess is that go hand in hand there? Force user and Jedi? Or can you be a Force user and not a Jedi? But can you be a Jedi and not a Force user? Because I think, speaking of Han as well too, if we didn't say already, I think because this would be now the new prequels as well, and I feel like I maybe remember the newer, the not the new prequels, not the good prequels. Ayo, the newest ones. What is there a name for the new prequels? You got of course the the original trilogy, the prequels, and then I don't know what they call these, the regret wolves. I don't know what the next three are called there, but shout out to Kylo Ren and some of the cast there as well too. Obviously, rest in peace Carrie Fisher, but I think maybe, I guess I don't know if they said that Han Solo was a Force user in that. Maybe that's in like an animated show or something. I don't know, but I feel like we've heard though. I feel like word on the street is Han Solo has the Force. We maybe have heard that. We'll have to get Woj on the case. We'll see if there's like a Woj report on what he can find there for Han Solo Force abilities. Pause. But yeah, I don't know if you can you be a non-Force user Jedi? Let us know. DM us Sam Pod on Instagram. Hey yo, if you want to slide into the DMs with some Star Wars, some Star Wars lore, shout out. But I mean, we could definitely ask. I mean, Sam's locked in. Sam might know. I mean, I guess I don't know. If Sam's like locked in with the, like the specifics of the Jedi Order. But he does like the movies. I think has he talked about the video games Battleground? So I don't know if you like Star Wars Battleground. Does that make you locked in on the Star Wars lore there? Is that guy a Force user? I would imagine in the game you have the Force at some point. But could that Battleground character be a Jedi and not a Force user? I'm not sure. So shout out, I guess Darius Garland. We'll see. Maybe he's the first Jedi that doesn't have the Force. Hey yo, it is what it is. But okay, so this is just the Garland trade there. And again, ayo, very simple, obviously. James Harden for Darius Garland in a second round pick. Hey yo, just had to get a little extra. Pause. Hey, whoa. For the trade. But Jaren Jackson to Utah. Figure out what the specifics of this are. So this is probably the haul of the day then. And, Jackson as well too. Probably being a little more of at the peak of his powers would make sense. Oh, okay, here we go. We got a list of moves. Vooch and Simons. Might as well just see the Jaren Jackson one since we're thinking about that. So Memphis gets Walter Clayton Jr. Kyle Anderson, he's back. Taylor Hendricks, Georges Niang, and 3 future first-round picks. Utah gets Jaren Jackson, John Conchar, Jock Lindell, and Vince Williams. Hey, yo, Utah gives this another B. Utah gets a B- in this article, and Memphis gets an A-. I don't know. Utah might get an A+, honestly. Conchar? Hey, yo, you don't just throw John Conchar into a trade. That guy can play. That guy can go out. That guy can ball. Jock Lindell can give you, 9 to 12 minutes a game if you need him to. If you need him to, Jock Lindell can play. I still think Vince Williams Jr. can give you some minutes as well. So I got to be honest. I mean, I guess sometimes it's just as simple as which side of the trade would you rather have. But just in a vacuum, it's like, okay, both these teams somehow got disbanded for cheating, and like the Spurs get to pick. Do you want the Memphis side of the trade or the Jazz side of the trade? It's like, let's take this Jazz side of the trade. Hey yo, I get the 3 hey yo, IT, cut that out. The 3 future first round picks. That is tempting, of course. Walter Clayton Jr., a first round pick, and Taylor. Speaking of the trade value, I guess draft chart that we were talking about, if we add like a draft prospect chart, Taylor Hendricks, fourth overall pick, or was he 4th overall, like top 7 pick in his draft class? So, again, highly valued prospect there when he was entering the league. So there is a lot to build around. And for Memphis as well, too, again, like Hendricks and Walter Clayton do seem like kind of Memphis-y type guys. Can you play Walter Clayton Jr. and Scottie Pippen Jr. together? Scottie Pippen Jr. is a good defender. And Ja, like they do have a, pause. Ayo. With all due respect, they do have a little bit of a smaller backcourt there. It is what it is. And I guess, the Grizzlies are building around Ja. Is that the storyline here? Or is, there another move potentially in the works as well? That could be more likely. We might have to go to the poly market. Is it more likely that Ja gets traded, or if they, end up building around him at this point? That would be seeming a little more shocking. But Hey, yo, I don't know why we would take a drink right when we're in the middle of a sentence. It is what it is. But we're gonna do it again. Pause. Hey, yo. Okay, so for the Jazz, though, again, those are all really, really good players. And, we were looking at that team, I guess, with Markkanen and figuring out, are they going to trade Markkanen and commit to the rebuild, commit to the getting that top guy. I guess for their owner as well, too, being the BYU connect there with the NIL stuff, obviously the connections of them potentially trying to draft DeBasta seem like a real possibility. But I guess now we'll have to see where that lies. I maybe Jaren Jackson. Here, I'll double check the health status of Jaren Jackson. So that's another take. We were talking about maybe teams having to maneuver around the second apron. Maybe it's more injuries as well, too, because Jaren Jackson and Darius Garland are both, injury, with respect, guys that have, unfortunately, had to deal with that for the course of their careers. But he has played 45 games this year, so shout out. In 74 last year, 66 is honestly not bad as well. Like, the threshold's 65, so again, obviously, playing as many as possible is nice. But 78, so I guess the start of the career there, first 3 years, a little tough. But, got to give him credit. Hey, yo, a half a decade goes by. Turns out Jaren Jackson is, he's chugging along, chat. Hey, yo, pause. Getting out there and playing some games. Playing high 80s for percentages is pretty fair. And, of course, like some of the, I guess, blocks per game and, the rebound numbers, there have been some stuff that have been maybe a little lower, a little inconsistent over the last couple of years. There's a dip down to 32% from 3, but yeah, 47% from 3, 39 or 36, sorry, 35.9, 36% from 3, 19 a game. And to be honest, like with the way he plays, I almost wonder if, is Utah like thinking 2 steps ahead? And here, let's go to the Tankathon and just have that up as well too, because I want to try to process where their potential draft pick is going to be. I guess they are 6 right now, so they're not necessarily like, guaranteed that DeBasta is going to be the guy that they're going to get. But, for them already having Markkanen and them having Filipowski and Walker Kessler, though, I think, now we're having to remember who's all hurt, who's all healthy. Walker Kessler might be out for the year. Here, we'll double check that, I guess, as well, too. So, yeah, as of right now, they have the 6th pick. And regardless, I guess, well, maybe their first round pick is not going to be, well, I guess it's going to be good to some degree. They're 6 right now. So, even if they win a lot of games, they're still probably going to be a lottery team at this point. But I think that he can be the 3 next to Markkanen. Is this like some PJ Carlissimo level coaching from the Rev and Sam pod? I don't know. But I already forgot what we were going to look up here in regards to this trade. I don't know. Jaren Jackson, stats, Markkanen. Oh, Walker Kessler's injury status here. Shout out Walker Kessler. Not trying to, put you on blast here. Pause. But we do have to verify for journalistic integrity what the lineup will look like. So, yeah, he will undergo shoulder surgery. Ayo, did we say that okay? Torn labrum. Hey, that's easier to enunciate there. So, yeah, torn labrum for the 25-26 season. I guess I don't know where that puts him on a timeline for next year as well, too. But, yeah, 5 games played this year. Unfortunately, was not able to see the court a lot. But, just in theory, and I know that they've talked about trades for him as well, too. So, I guess long-term, would he be on the team? And I guess like we're saying with Filipowski, shout out. Maybe they don't necessarily feel the need to lock down the center position with him there as they would have in the past. But I guess just them having a center and then Markkanen at the 4, like, it's 2025. Hey, yo, can we be open-minded to, 3 front court players, I guess, in the front court? I don't know. I guess Ace Bailey as well, too. This lineup is going to be crazy, Chad. They're looking at the Rockets. Is that what it is? Are they looking at the Rockets and looking at the Spurs? And they're saying we have to compete? Jaren Jackson, honestly, with Ace Bailey, Jaren Jackson might be the 2 guard. Hey, yo, now we are actually PJ Carlissimo trying to coach up this team. We just got random guys playing shooting guard here. And they have Nurkic? Oh, okay. Shout out. See, yeah, Keontae George is 24 a game this year. Hey, yo. I guess he is 46 and 37 is not bad. Shout out to Keontae George. He's a baller. He's a dude. You got to have him. Ayo, pause. So you got Mark. I mean, and now it's like you got to keep marketing as well, too. And I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm just saying, like, the team is forming. The Utah Jazz. This is the lineup that they're going with. Ayo, Oscar Tshiebwe, a potential center. Shout out. I guess maybe these are the guys that are not there anymore. Kevin Love, did he just get traded to or from? Ayo. I guess we got to start writing these moves down. But, yeah, Filipowski, 48% from the field this year. Not doing too bad, obviously. So maybe marketing at the 5, Jaren Jackson at the 4, obviously, is a athletic offensive lineup that you could potentially run. Ace Bailey at the 3, and then Keontae George, and then Conchar. We're forgetting about our guy Conchar, though. Hey, yo, let's double-check Conchar's stats for the season here. And obviously maybe not a box score guy as well. 3 points a game, 3 rebounds, a 3-and-3 chat. I mean, can we project that out? What is he, 14 minutes a game? So what is he per 36? Is he like a double-double? Let's see here. Per 100 possessions, per 36. 7 a game, 7.7 rebounds. I guess, that's fun. It's some impact there. 50% from the field, 33% from 3. I guess a little bit lower I guess he's a little inconsistent throughout the course of his career. And maybe I'm getting him confused with Sante Aldama as well, too. So, you got Sante Aldama, you can't trade him. He is, a building block of the franchise over there. But for Conchar, can still be a valuable rotation guy. So I think he is a pretty fun, if you have to match salaries, you're just throwing in contracts. Like, he is definitely a fun get. And Vince Williams Jr. as well, too. Like I'm saying, he is at least, he's at least talented. And now the Jazz are stacked, so they don't know, who's going to get minutes on this team is a question. 35% from our guy Vince Williams Jr., 30% from the 3. Hey, yo. So maybe the shooting coaches in Utah will be able to help him out. The jump shot coaches will be able to help him out over there. But, yeah, hey, yo. Again, not a box score guy. Definitely, you catch him flashing on the league pass every now. You compile the right plays, and you're like, hey, yo, there's a talented player in here. But shout out. We'll see. I guess with Keontae George, obviously, becoming a consistent starter-level offensive player, maybe the minutes won't quite be there for Vince Williams, unfortunately. But they're in a bit of a losing streak right now, so I guess they could use the reinforcements if they're trying to win. Though, again, you got everybody out right now, so it doesn't even matter. I guess the fact that Keontae George is out is probably good. It's like he's achieved that status. And speaking of Scottie Pippen Jr., we mentioned him earlier, watching a game the other night and seeing him in street clothes I was like, oh, Scottie Pippen, he's made it. He's like a guy now. The Grizzlies have him in street clothes. If the Grizzlies have you in street clothes, I feel like you're probably a good player. Is that the best thing about Ja Morant's draft stock right now, or trade value? It's like, hey, the Grizzlies are not playing games. He just misses games still. It is what it is. But, yeah, I think the Jazz got a haul. I mean, they got 3 first-round picks, but you got one for Jackson, one for Conchar, and one for Landell and Vince Williams. So that seems pretty fair there. I mean, I guess they weren't playing Kyle Anderson because they were tanking. Kyle Anderson is like kind of good. So if the Grizzlies are going to tank now, then maybe Kyle Anderson can get waived and go sign to a team and help a team. So the Grizzlies are the 9th pick. So I guess, trivia of the day, question of the day, who will have the higher draft pick once we actually hit that time of the year? Will it be the Grizzlies or the Jazz? Can the Jazz kind of pull some games together here? But you got the Hornets at 10, and of course the Hornets are on a win streak right now as well too. Oh, and that's right, the Grizzlies also have the Desmond Bane pick as well. Koa Pete. Oh, our guy Yax Lendenborg. Lendeborg going to the Spurs. Hey, yo, that'd be great. With that Hawks pick there, shout out. So, yeah, we would, of course, definitely welcome the experience there. But Koa Pete is a name I have seen in the Spurs sort of internet fan pages. People are kind of eyeing him right now for the Spurs lineup. So I guess right now in Tankathon they have him going to the Grizzlies one spot later. And I guess now that I'm thinking about it as well too, the reason that kind of caught my attention is because I saw that he was also related to, if I'm saying the name right, Andres Pete, offensive lineman for the Saints and maybe some other teams as well too. But for the Saints for sure, was drafted by the Saints. So to have an NFL, to have like that NFL equivalent, athlete brother in the house. I don't know. I like a basketball player with an NFL offensive lineman brother. Hey, yo, something about that just seems like a guy that might fit into kind of a defensive versatility type of lineup. But if the Grizzlies were able to get him, obviously they'd probably be winning out there. And Ahmet as well too from Tennessee is a fun versatile talent. I guess they have him at 9 right now for the Grizzlies. But Cedric Coward for them, of course, has become a real fun wing prospect for them to have now. Kingston Flemings has been shooting up draft boards. Point guard Caleb Wilson from North Carolina. He could be a little bit of a Grizzlies player. Or Brown from Louisville. Mikael Brown. That would be like they trade Ja and then all of a sudden draft another point guard, reset the franchise that way. That'd be the move. Or is Walter Clayton Jr. the Ja Morant replacement? They go all of a sudden, like we're saying, Walter Clayton, Scottie Pippen is their new backcourt, Scottie Pippen Jr., and then Cedric Coward in the front court. But yeah, I mean, getting the picks, getting the reset is now them officially kind of becoming for the Grizzlies. Anyways, and I guess with this trade, like you would have again probably, I don't know, maybe if you're locked in, you probably would have said I think you would have rather have taken the Jazz roster, the Jazz situation over the Grizzlies. But I think up until this point, we would have viewed the Jazz as the team that is still trying to tank and the Grizzlies the team that is still trying to figure out what direction to go. And obviously with this trade, I think they've kind of switched places. So that's what I was saying with the draft, where if you have now the Jazz, with like an actual, and trading some first round picks. I mean, they have a ton, so they still can, in a little bit of a Thunder way, still make some moves around some of their core pieces. I don't know. Will Keontae George be Shea, I guess, is the question that they're still waiting to be answered there. But yeah, it's like, okay, clearly they're probably, if everybody's out there, they're obviously not a tanking team. How they'll maneuver the roster this year, of course, will be a thing. And then with the health, but the Grizzlies, clearly now are that. So even if Ja is still like out there in every game, and it's like, we're committed to him with the franchise, and we want to see how these guys function around him, and we're at the offense. How do we need to gear the offense over the next couple of years? Like, they're still going to tank this year, try to get a good draft pick and reset around Ja, whatever the secondary player would be. Again, if that were to be the move, I don't think that's probably what it is going to be, but I don't know what the Ja Morant trade would have been, because you would have assumed with the way that everything is worked out that, if they were to make a Ja trade, it would have happened by now. Or if they were making moves that the Ja Morant trade would have happened first, and, maybe potentially they would have kept Jaren Jackson and built around him like we're saying. But I guess the full rebuild is there. And if you have to reset, there is that conversation, of course, would you get 3 first-round picks for Ja Morant anymore? Because, speaking of injuries, the injury thing is actually a real thing for Ja Morant. So I don't know if, again, teams can over-exaggerate that to mask their feelings about some other things that maybe he brings. But either way, that's what's going to get cited as the main reason that a lot of teams are going to be avoiding those moves. They just don't want to, again, I guess the main quote is just take a chance. It is what it is. But, are you, again, like we're saying, get that type of multiple assets types of deals, types of moves back in the trade. So I guess this doesn't even have the years for the picks, but I guess like we're saying, so maybe Tankathon isn't updating here with the years as well too. But would it be this year's pick? I don't know. I feel like the 6th pick might be a little aggressive for Jaren Jackson. I don't know. With all Keaton Wagler, I guess Jaren Jackson for Mikael Brown. I haven't sat down and watched a ton of him this year, but just in theory, a little bit of maybe again, I guess I'm not locking him in to be a weaker defender, but maybe a little bit of an undersized defender versus a capable defensive wing, is always going to be a tough pick there for the guard. It is what it is. But you got LeBaron Philon for Bama, another guard as well too, and then a Met, Haynes Steinbach, Washington, Braylon Mullins from UConn, freshman guard. I don't know. You get obviously with Castle, who are pro UConn guards right now. Darius Acuff from Arkansas. I think Koa Pete might end up going up draft boards. I don't know. Again, maybe we're just being biased. Our guy Yaxel would probably be higher, of course, if he wasn't maybe a little older at this point as well, too. Because, of course, all freshman and sophomore, honestly, until we get to him as a senior. Then Thomas Haw as a junior. And then Joshua Jefferson, a senior. A couple seniors and juniors. Our guy Mara as well, too, a junior. Going to the Wizards. Hey, yo, Vucevic and Mara and Sarr? They're stacking up with the centers. That'd be crazy. The Wizards getting Mara and Caleb Wilson in the draft. That's definitely an A+ grade in the article afterwards. You got to love that there. But, so I guess to further double-check the details of whatever that pick would be. But they would have 2 first-round picks this year and then maybe potentially even 2 first-round picks next year. Multiple first-round picks the year after that. And it doesn't say if there's swaps in here as well, too. So is that 2 first-round picks in a swap? But I guess, and Taylor Hendricks and Walter Clayton Jr. are both first-round picks. So 5 pretty recent, 5 recent and future first-round picks. So that is in some ways right in the Mikal Bridges range as well, too. Because I was going to say, Bridges was 5 first-round picks. Wasn't really much on the salaries, though. That's always the thing that's thrown out is, like, how many first... Well, I guess, was it 5? Was it 3 picks and 2 swaps for Bridges? I guess now we're spreading fake news if it wasn't. But, oh, wait a second. What's this? Timeout? All-Star game, of course, they've announced the different versions of the rosters. There's, like, the basic East and West roster. But they're dividing up into They're dividing it up into the world... And then the USA is getting a Stars and a Stripes team. So the USA Stars team, I guess, was there a draft? How did they divide this up? I'm going to have to double check the rules on this. It's the Stars team is Duren and Cade, so you got both the Sixers. Devin Booker, Scotty Barnes, Anthony Edwards, Chet, Jalen Johnson, and Maxey. So, hey, we might have to pivot away here. I guess let's take a timeout. We're halfway through the trade machine, so... it might be a time to talk about the All-Star game lineups and then go back to the other trades. I mean, it's an NBA episode tonight. It is what it is. Shout out. We're like we say, it's our new slogan here in 2026. We're NBA journalists, so we will definitely be pause covering the news of the day. But let's take a quick break and then we'll break down these rosters. Chat. NBA All-Star game is quickly approaching here, and we've still got a couple other trade deadline moves that happened as well too. So don't go anywhere. Don't touch the dial, chat. Don't do it. right, welcome back. Let's get into it. The All-Star rosters 2025-2026. Like we've said, a new format has been introduced where they have an international team and then two NBA American teams. So, not to be a patriot right off the bat, but I know a lot of the conversation of this is going to be, and as it should. I mean, we haven't had an American MVP since 2017. So speaking of James Harden might actually have been the last American MVP. Hey, shout out. But so not to say that the international dominance hasn't been there from some of the top guys in the league. That's for sure. And at the end of the day, I guess basketball is a five, you got to have five people on the court. So if we were still going up, I guess that is the question really that I'm trying to ask is what is the point of actually international takeover from an NBA standpoint? I'm sure as time goes on, it's just the math of the world. Like, I guess I don't know how long the NBA would have to be around before international players would outweigh NBA players. I mean, again, I guess you're adding international players to the league every year. So I don't know if there is like growth rates that would, again, have something that would be something that would project that to be possible for the future. But, again, the math is there's more people outside of America than there is inside of America. So, hot take here from the REMINGTOM pod. So, I'm assuming that the percentage of that would be more in the NBA if it was, again, just equal, obviously. So REMINGTOM can do math. But either way, right now, like we said, not to be a patriot, but the USA still has two teams. It is what it is. So I guess we could go through and see, like, what would a second international team look like potentially. And I guess, it could probably it would still obviously be pretty competitive. But, is it the five-man lineup? Is that the international takeover? Or is it, again, like, if international has more all-stars, if they have more all-NBA guys, but second and third team all-NBA still belong to the USA? Silver and bronze still, USA, I guess, well, I was going to say Embiid. Embiid did play for Team USA, though. So do we get to claim the Embiid MVP? Is it like is it like the Manning McNair MVP? That might, shout out. It's the McNair MVP this month. It is what it is. But, is the Embiid MVP an American MVP? Maybe, I don't know. But I guess, again, I guess we're not trying to say it's not, but, again, I guess for whatever we were, because I heard somebody say that recently as well, too. So maybe this person was, again, just not including Embiid. Shout out. So we'll include Embiid, chat. It is what it is. If you're playing for Team USA, we get to claim the MVP. So Embiid's MVP was actually the last MVP. Was that, I guess that wasn't back in 2018 now, was it? That was like 2021, 2022, one of those years. But, either way, they've got, like we said, Team World, Shea, Doncic, Wemby, Karl Towns, Jamal Murray actually making the All-Star game for the first time. Of course, hasn't made an All-Star game yet, though the playoff stuff, the finals, I mean, he's been in that level. Just, I think, with the injuries in his career as well, too, like, the timing of that hasn't necessarily lined up per se. And, like, Western Conference guards from a stat standpoint, like, is Steph not in the All-Star game this year? Where's Steph? Steph's got to be there, right? Oh, Steph is. Okay, shout out. Steph's on the other team. I was going to say, but, like Chris Paul, just going back a couple years, like, there have been, obviously, a pretty stacked spot there in the Western Conference guard conversation. But, shout out. It is definitely something that is deserving and needed for his resume to actually be classified in that group. And we haven't gotten to the Mike Conley trade yet, but, of course, famously, he will, be known for one of the, best non-all-star type guys ever in the league. And, Jamal Murray, with all due respect to Mike Conley, I guess am I going to say Jamal Murray, Mike Conley, I guess is it more Jokic as well, too? Like, would Jokic have won the title with Mike Conley on those teams? But it's a good, Jamal Murray, again, went crazy offensively in some of those games. Like, I don't know if Mike Conley could have done, pause to the Lakers, what Jamal Murray did to the Lakers in some of those playoff runs. So, again, I think for his career, he definitely needs some of those, player individual recognitions as well. But he's from Canada. Hey, yo. So he's going to be in competition this year. So, it does work out that we do have a spur on Team World with Wemby. And Mitch Johnson is coaching I think he's coaching Stripes. So I guess Stars and Stripes for the Team USAs this year. So I think Johnson is coaching the veterans. And it looks like it's like older players versus veterans. But I don't know. I think maybe they got, I guess Booker and Mitchell are going to be in the same age, but I feel like Booker might be more in the veteran group. I don't know why I would put Mitchell in the, with the kids. It is what it is. But I feel like with the, I don't know. I feel like his career point so far would align more with some of these guys maybe than Booker's. I guess again we'd have to go double check the seasons. I don't know if they just literally just did years of experience or age to divide it up. But you've got Scotty Barnes, Devin Booker, Cade, Jalen Durham, Anthony Edwards, Chet, Jalen Johnson, and Tyrese Maxey on Team Stars. And then the other team, you've got Jalen Brown, Jalen Brunson, Donovan Mitchell, Norman Powell, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Kawhi Leonard. So, I mean, Edwards is going to be like I mean, we can't count out Team USA stars. That's for sure. But, I mean, this veterans team could cook. This veterans team could still cook. I mean, it's an all-star game. So I don't think LeBron's going to play defense. And again, LeBron's like, I mean, we don't have to say it. It is what it is. LeBron's still going crazy. I mean, again, I get he's not, is he Miami LeBron at this point? Is he one of the 5 best players in the league? But LeBron as this version as the leader of like these veteran guys still, like, and as they were talking about here on the NBC crew, which they were mentioning, what they were doing in the Olympics. And of course it is a similar version of this sort of veteran lineup, mainly the core guys of Durant, LeBron, and Curry as well. But I mean, some of those is a little bit situational as well, but LeBron is 50% from the field. I guess the 3-point percentage is a little bit lower this year at 33. So if that was, if he was making a 3 a game, he would be back up to 24.4. So who knows after the All-Star break if if he gets hot from 3-point range, he might get that scoring number back up a little bit. Pause. Hey, yo. But again, him getting to be athletic, cutting to the basket, getting to just play make would be obviously still lethal in this game. And Durant and Curry are still offensively pretty crazy as well too. I mean, Durant and the Rockets are in conversation with the scariest team in the Western Conference, and Durant is obviously, still very much a leader of that in that roster. I mean, Norm Powell is literally playing the best basketball of his career. Brunson is, again, the Knicks are a little inconsistent from time to time, but sometimes, Brunson, obviously at the peak of his powers, is, in conversation for, I don't think it's crazy to say best guard in the league. I guess maybe third best guard in the league is Shea and Luka. Shout out. It is what it is. I guess both of them on Team World. The 2 best, I guess, obviously that's what we're saying. It is what it is. So, and then Towns, Murray, Siakam, Advia off the bench. The sleeper of the lineups is going to be Advia, who, classic all-star guy, happy to be there all-star guy. Shout out. It is what it is. I feel like for Team Stars, maybe Scotty Barnes is the happy to be there all-star, or I don't know, maybe maybe not Chet. They might need the center minutes. I don't know if they end up going small though. Pause. Maybe Scotty Barnes if they want to try to go a little bit quicker. Is it gonna be 5s? I guess it will be 5s. They're a pretty big roster. Is there rules here? A starting 5 that includes, okay, those 4 is gonna be nasty. So I guess it's gonna be 5. So yeah, full court. I don't know what the scoring system is. So is it shorter games or games to a certain number? Mini tournament will compete in 4 12-minute games. Round robin mini tournament. Oh, okay. So this could be pretty fun. So they're basically playing quarters, like mini little quarters, and then kind of a full game that way. But yeah, maybe it would be Duren as the starting center, and then Johnson, Edwards, Devin Booker, and Cade as you line. Just bench Maxey, AO leading the league in scoring. I don't know, but so Maxey and Edwards. Is Cade going to be on the bench? See, they might just run all guards. I don't know. It might have to be Maxey, Edwards, Cade, Booker, and then Jalen Johnson. Though maybe Jalen Johnson isn't happy to be their All-Stars as well too. But yeah, I mean, we didn't even mention Jaylen Brown at the peak of his powers. Hey yo, for the other USA team. And I mean, Kawhi Leonard, who literally, I mean, Adam Silver had to step in and be like, Kawhi Leonard is playing so well when he's out there that, you know, I guess he just has to be an All-Star this year. It is what it is. So Kawhi, I think maybe, you know, not, then I guess he is kind of happy to be their All-Stars because, you know, literally Adam Silver just invited him. But, and I guess they needed a round number as well too. But again, it's not like Kawhi's going to play. So he literally just gave him an All-Star nomination. Like, Kawhi's not going to play in the All-Star game. I mean, he might. Do I have to... Am I crazy? Am I forgetting, like, Kawhi has, like, a crazy All-Star history? Like, he might have a game. But, I don't know. Is this the year that he's going to choose to lock in for the All-Star game? Prove everywhere? I mean, the hometown game for the Clippers, I don't know. It's his team. You know, James Harden's gone. Hey, he's not in the All-Star game, right? So, no controversy there. So, it'll just be... You know, now that Darius Garland, you know, with Clutch Sports will be on the sidelines, I'm sure, at the various events. So it'll be like a, you know, the new look Clippers, you know, hey, yo, like there's and maybe making this trade and having like no games played with that duo before the All-Star game will be like the peak of their powers. I don't know. But yeah, either way, if he locks in, obviously the lineup is scary. If not, I mean, Norm Powell, like we're saying, is in the happy to be their All-Stars. And he might be playing like the best guard. Well, he might be like the best, like, yeah, like I think we're saying that right. Playing the best, having like the best guard season on Team USA starts. I guess again, shout out to Maxey, Edwards, Cade, and Booker. Cade, the #1 seed Pistons, but you know, obviously I guess we're pro Cade, but pro Norm Powell as well too on this pod. So hopefully Norm Powell gets some All-Star game minutes on this team. Can we do a trade? Like a Norm Powell for, you know, Jamal Murray? I don't know. But if Jokic obviously on Team World, you might have to have Murray out there just to see. And obviously just the you know, what this basketball lineup is going to look like with Team World, like we're saying. I guess like I said, we're not, you know, we have to make the concession that, again, the 5-person lineup, you probably do have to give to Team World. And Giannis, he's not even listed on here. So, I mean, did Giannis even... Do we have to check? Oh, yeah, he is listed. So, he's listed in the graphic. Is he not listed on the lineup here? Are we crazy? I guess, you know, him being on the trade block. Do we double check the injuries there? He might be already set to not play in that game. But obviously, the hypothetical version of the lineup has him on it. And then, you know, again, shout out to Embiid as well, too. But, you know, you could definitely have him on you know, potential international lineup as well too, you know, peak of his powers. I mean, I'm sure there's a way that Giannis, Embiid, Jokic, and Wemby could figure it out. That would be crazy. That would be a crazy lineup. Again, you know, maybe, I mean, Embiid right now is cooking. So, I mean, him as the 4th best player on that team, I'm sure is going to be fine. But at the peak of their powers, I guess, you know, Wemby a couple seasons from now and Embiid a couple seasons ago, you know, we just go timeline either way for both of them. It might be, you know, a crazy lineup that doesn't really make sense, but still somehow works because, you know, you do have 3 guys that can step outside there, and then Giannis. You have spacing around Giannis with Embiid, Jokic, and Wemby all at the corner for 3 while Giannis just drives to the basket. That's a great lineup. Shout out. But yeah, Wemby and Jokic together is gonna be insane because Wemby. I think Wemby's at the stage where he's going to be trying. I mean, Jokic, you know, the All-Star game, we might get like 3. I mean, Jokic is not obviously in the happy to be their All-Stars, but Jokic will definitely be sitting with the happy to be their All-Stars. He's fine to be over there, I think, hanging out with the happy to be All-Stars. Jokic is actually the one not happy to be their All-Star. It is what it is. So we might end up seeing some Karl Anthony Towns minutes honestly, we could see a lot of Karl Towns minutes. Jokic Karl Towns like, please let me play, and he's like, okay, fine, well, you can play. But you know, we get Towns and Wemby as the front court guys, maybe Doncic and Shea as well too. So you know, then maybe, you know, if Jokic is playing, then maybe, you know, again, who knows what happens with Murray at that point in the lineup. Maybe that's where our guy Advia gets in, and ends up playing over him there. But yeah, if Jokic does commit to this game, and again, if Here, let's double check Giannis's status as well too. See what's going on there. We've got trade corner and injury update corner here on the REMINGTOM pod. Has no timetable for his return. So, out with the Cavs. So, yeah, I mean, again, I guess it depends if Giannis gets traded or not. If Giannis gets traded in the next couple of days, which, what did we see? What was the news going around for Giannis? Oh, I guess it was the Minnesota piece that we were talking about. So, if Minnesota, I guess, is able to cook something up, is that Dillingham? Dillingham and Terrence Shannon and whatever picks they have. Julius Randle. Randle, Shannon, Dillingham. I mean, you know, again, we just saw Harden and Garland, so I mean, maybe the Bucks are like, I mean, I guess you make trades these days. We'll make the trade. You know, they'll take the picks. It's like, it's just what you do. But, you know, I guess he did request it as well too, so he wants to move. But I don't know. You know, obviously, you might be able to do a little better than that. I mean, we love both those players here. Obviously, Dillingham was almost on the Spurs, and Shannon would be a very impactful player on San Antonio. So, I mean, you know, obviously, we were loving him on the draft. But, yeah, Giannis, I guess, could play in the All-Star game. And, you know, obviously, hey, yo, we're calling him out. The REMINGTOM pod calls out Giannis. Giannis, we just want to see what the lineup looks like. Jokic, Wemby, and Giannis all at the same time. Pause. Whoa. But we got Shea and Doncic, again, have to be probably the two guards that are going to be in the lineup. But, yeah, otherwise, it's probably going to be World and the veteran lineup for Team USA. That is going to be the two main ones to look out for. And there is, of course, the factor that, I mean, you know, the Team USA stars is just, you know, the young guys are just ready to play, and maybe the veterans are, you know, chilling on the day of. But again, the veterans have, like, I don't know, would Jaylen Brown and Norm Powell be chilling? I don't know. Like Steph, I don't think Steph would take it all. And I get LeBron and Durant. I don't think these guys are going to chill. So I think there's still enough going on there that they can still definitely win with the secondary version of the team. But again, if they are obviously a step slow, I mean, Maxey at the peak of his powers, I mean, right now is, again, 30 a game. Jalen Johnson is like a 25, 8-5 type guy. So, I mean, you know, Edwards as well, too, could be the best player on the court. And then Duren, in terms of a center, I guess that would be the one weakness of this team is Duren actually could be a problem now that I think about it. That because, you know, you're going to have basically LeBron and Durant be your, you know, your big men for the team. So if LeBron's just committed to like standing around the basket and just being a presence, you know, maybe he can throw a couple guys off, but it's an all-star game. Like, I guess, you know, Wemby's going to be the only guy blocking shots. So maybe the commissioner should have added like Bam Adebayo to Team USA. I mean, is he like the go-to next center for Team USA? But they also have Chet as well too. So if Chet's just like being feisty, you know, again, just like hustling, grabbing rebounds, blocking shots on defense, like maybe, you know, at least maybe getting fouls, getting in the way, that could be something. And Jalen Johnson defensively as well too, and rebounding. So if it was Duren, I mean, maybe Chet goes to the bench here, but Duren, Johnson, Maxey, Edwards is 4. And then I think Booker just has to be playing. I mean, I don't know if it, you know, do we have to double check the starters? What were the starters? I guess Cade might have been a starter, right? If Cade's an all-star starter, then I guess he has to be out there. And Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown might have also. We just benched both the all-star starters for, you know, a couple other guys. But Maxey, I mean, hey, yo, we don't even know the lineups at this point. All these guys are having great seasons. It is what it is. So I guess Jaylen Brown was on the other team, so that one kind of works itself out there. But again, if it was going like veteran status, you know, more all-star games means you get the starting spot in this type of lineup, then, you know, again, Booker obviously wins that argument. But Cade, we've seen him in the Team USA, like the YouTube scrimmage highlights from the Olympics. Speaking of those runs, like Cade was a sneaky dominant guy in that, and so was Cooper Flagg. Like Cooper Flagg, hey yo, that's honestly the missed opportunity. And again, so that's what it should have been. Booker should have been on the veteran team. It should have been Booker on the veteran team and Cooper Flagg on Team Stars. Hey, yo. And then I guess, you know, that still is like a little bit of a guard forward kind of swap there. So still kind of that same type of versatility, you know, not necessarily up another center or something like that. I guess, you know, it doesn't help Team USA out there or the veteran team out in that way. but they're not probably too worse off as well too. You know, again, who knows how much they're actually going to get from the Kawhi minutes there. So yeah, Maxey, Edwards, and Duren I think will be the three that would be swinging the game. But then Cade as well too. So I mean, maybe that would be are the Pistons? Are we looking at, you know, we're doing all like all-star storylines before the all-star game has even happened, but the Pistons could have an opportunity to actually emerge as, like, you know, again, they're the 1 seed right now, but actually a real threat. Because like we said, the East is wide open, and I know, again, we defaulted to New York. Maybe that's the Brunson, the veteran nature of that team. You know, for some reason, I keep almost wanting to default to Boston as well too. Not even a Tatum Boston. Like, this version of Boston, it's like, you know, Brown and Pritchard and Derek White, like those guys have been there for a while. Like, seems like they show up every night. Like, you know, if they're locked in for the playoffs, why couldn't they win the East? Who knows? I guess, you know, the totality of the lineup could, you know, suffer a little bit over some, you know, various 7-game series. But again, the Pistons with the 1 seed and the completeness of that roster, and the fact that Cade and Duren, like Duren, again, you look at some of the advanced stats, Duren's a top 5 guy in the league, and it's like Cade with his box score numbers, I'm sure could, you know, have conversations for being a lead creator, franchise cornerstone type guy. I mean, you know, we love him as, you know, a build your team around him type guy as well too. So maybe they don't even need to play well. Maybe just me talking myself into the possibility that this lineup is good is enough for me to say, hey, you know what? Honestly, in February, if the Pistons made the finals, you know, again, as the 1 seed in the East right now, if I'm not mistaken, if they're still that, hey, yo, now we check the standings for the NBA season as well with the other stuff. But yeah, they are by far the 1 seed. Again, 36-12. So you got New York 31, Boston with the same record, 31 wins, Toronto with 30, Cleveland with 30. So again, you know, Cleveland, like I said, the East is just weird enough that they could stumble into the finals. Who knows if it's them winning the East, or again, them just finding themselves in the finals. But even, I guess, Philly at 28 wins, like, you know, is it impossible to sit here and say Philly wins the East? I guess a little. But, you know, Embiid is playing well. Maxey is 30 a game. VJ Edgecombe would have to definitely take, you know, a little bit of a leap forward from maybe where he is game to game at this point. But I guess that's, and, you know, they will also get Paul George back as well. Maybe Paul George missing 25 games. Because, like, you know, if Embiid and George are, you know, again, giving you something, and George, you know, again, not maybe, it would be a little bit, you know, like Edgecombe would have to almost be what Paul George would want, you know, what we would need from Paul George. And then Paul George, you know, is giving us the production of, and I'm saying this, you know, respectfully to Paul George, but like, you know, really good rookie production. Like, you know, if VJ Edgecombe in the playoffs was 16 a game and like 38% from 3, that'd be great. But if Paul George was, I guess if Paul George, you know, hey, I'm overcomplicating it now at this point. Point being, if their top 6 guys play well, their top 6 guys are pretty decent. Like Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Kelly Oubre, Joel Embiid, Paul George, and then Quentin Grimes as your 6th man. Hey, yo, that was a Norm Macdonald, you know, long walk, rest in peace, all the way to saying that Quentin Grimes is your 6th man is not bad for this team. And then again, those 5, definitely, you know, a real starting 5 for sure. You know, again, do they have the bench? But Barlow is, you know, a hustler for sure. McCain, maybe not necessarily taking the leaps forward that you would need there from your first round pick. But, you know, again, if Edgecombe is, you know, 18 a game in the playoffs and hitting threes, then they can definitely, you know, be a threat. But yeah, Detroit, you know, and you know, like I'm saying, just having that 2-person combo with the depth around them. Like there might not, honestly, now that I'm even thinking about it, there might not be a 2-person, hey, what am I saying? I'm pause. There might not be 2 players that that I'd build a basketball team around at this point in the Eastern Conference. And again, I guess Brunson is probably maybe just the default MVP of the East at this point. Because again, I guess Tatum is injured. Like Tatum would be, and Giannis. We're just now all of a sudden, but playoff picture as well too. Again, Milwaukee is literally 18-29 as we speak. So if Giannis is like, well, I guess Giannis is on the team for the rest of the year. He's not. He's on the sideline. So Milwaukee with Giannis, probably not, unfortunately, going to be a conversation for them competing anymore. But yeah, for again, Brunson and Towns versus Cade and Duren is close. And again, that is also massive respect to Duren. Massive respect to Duren because he is, and the center spot right now is like those talents, like we're saying, like Wemby, Jokic, Giannis. Like there is obviously that unicorn, and now what are we saying about Duren? There is a historic level to what those guys can potentially do. Like Duren is obviously a little bit more, traditional in his skill set. Like he is, again, a hustler on defense who can rotate over and block a bunch of shots. And he is just a really great rebounder. And it's still one of those things, like, it's a skill. It is what it is. We were listening to some pod, and it was, them bringing up Dennis Rodman. And it's just like, obviously the peak of, in some ways, of mastering rebound. I guess Bill Russell, Chamberlain, go back some of those days when guys actually rebounded. Bob Pettit getting 20 rebounds a game back in the day. But Rodman obviously had that mastered as like an actual skill set and the ability to read the angle of the jump shot, even sometimes obviously before it was even hitting the basket, and being able to position himself in the right way, to be able to get the rebound. It's like Duren is a guy like a Tristan Thompson maybe kind of rebounder. Like, I don't know, does he got the same sort of base? Is Donovan Clingan out here hitting jump shots? What's going on? Is he hitting threes? They're also running some type of historical thing on NBA TV, so I am kind of. Am I becoming an adult, Chet? Hey, I'm watching the documentaries over the game. Hey, it's a sad time if that's the phase we're moving into. So, we gotta lock in. We were watching the game. But I mean, shout out. I guess, rewatch it. It's like catching up with the show. We gotta rewatch some of the original seasons before we catch up to some of the newer seasons. So we gotta go back and watch the documentary pieces. I guess it was like a documentary outro for this Warriors game. We don't have sound on for it, so we're just watching pictures of old clips and stuff. It is what it is. But it's distracting us from the fact that Donovan Clingan out here, Blazers versus Suns, is stepping out hitting three-pointers. Shout out. So the Blazers are sleeper Giannis team, but I don't know if they're making the calls, unfortunately. It is what it is. Maybe Clingan is one of the guys we thought the Blazers or the Bucks could get, and maybe he's too valuable at this point if he's stepping out. Maybe Clingan, add him to Team USA for the centers, honestly, if he is going to be hitting threes as well too. I almost said Sven-Gun, but I don't know if we would be able to claim him, unfortunately, for Team USA. Who would we be able to claim for center? Again, I guess if Embiid wants to play for Team USA. Oh, Mobley? Get Mobley from the Cavs there. I was almost at Vooch as well too for the Celtics. Otherwise, it is going to be not a lot of options. Not Gobert, not because he's not an option, but just because he would be Team World as well too. DeAndre Ayton is like the 5th best Team USA center. I don't know. Mark Williams over Ayton, probably. I almost said Zubac again. Now we're forgetting about Jaren Jackson. Walker Kessler, of course, is injured. Filipowski might already be a top 10. Again, Bam Adebayo, we already mentioned. Anthony Davis is a power forward, so we can't even bring him up in this conversation. Zion, I guess our guy Derek Queen. Derek Queen is the answer. And, maybe, again, Duren, a different skill set. I guess Duren is on the young team. So Duren is the answer in, like, a game versus Team World. And that is maybe even the sneaky fact as well, too. Like, Duren might actually be, and I don't even think I set that take up properly. Like, that might actually be, like, we need, like, some graphics, like the ESPN banner across the screen. Like, coming up next, pause. Like, why Jalen Duren is one of the 5 guys you want out there on the court in a, if the death beam is pointed at the earth and the Martians have us lined up now we can't even get the quotes right. Take 2. If the aliens have invaded and the Martians have the death beam pointed at Earth, I want Jalen Duren as the Team USA center. Again, maybe we're not thinking out the full league at this point, but he would have the competitiveness and strength, matchup size. Like, I guess projecting out, if it was a Spurs Pistons finals, a little 20 years later, the rematch. Oh, Chad, speaking of the documentaries, imagine that. Imagine that. Imagine that. Can League, Adam Silver, rig it right now. Just make that the storylines. I know the NFL, we saw how they were projecting, they just told us what the Super Bowl was going to be with Drake May and Sam Darnold in one of the posts, dropping clues by having them as the two guys closest to the Vince Lombardi trophy in the post. Sunday now they're playing in the Super Bowl. That post was from, I think, the beginning of the year. So, if the NBA wants to do a similar thing, drop a post and have Jalen Duren and Wemby closest to the Larry O'Brien. And then when the finals rolls around, you could run like Ben Wallace versus Tim Duncan clips again. Hey, yo. I mean, obviously the league, that was just the peak of the league back then. Everybody just, fondly remembers like the 2005 NBA season. So I'm sure we'd love to revisit that in this year's finals. But, Thunder Pistons, like, I guess now we're going to jinx it. The Thunder already won the finals. I say the league is not ready for the Thunder to win the finals. See, they're not. I already forgot about it. It is what it is. Thunder Pacers, there's no lineage there. I guess, see, now the Thunder are going to be a dynasty. It is what it is. They're going to create their own lineage. But, the Seattle thing, like, it's just, if it was Sonics Pistons, that'd be fun. A couple of historic franchises. But it would need to be, like, Thunder Raptors or something. I don't know. Maybe Thunder Pistons is not bad as well, too. Thunder Cavs? Thunder Cavs would be tough. Thunder Cavs would be tough. I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, Pistons Spurs. Either way, we're getting distracted. If it was Pistons Spurs, Duren would be a problem, I think, versus Wemby. I mean, again, Jokic is obviously a problem. Like, Giannis is obviously a problem. If these are playoff finals matchups or just matchups in general, guys that, again, we're not saying that Duren is in more difficult matchup for Wemby than Jokic. I'm just saying that in the grand scale of things, you might not necessarily think of Duren like, the tier directly behind. Like, you wouldn't necessarily think of your player rankings as being, I'm, Jokic and then Jalen Duren, like, right there. But in some ways, because of, again, that trade value, positional value as well, too. Like, he is a really, really important player in the league, and his chemistry with Cade in those pick and rolls, and again, the way he can balance out Cade's offensive mastery, but maestro, his orchestration, his offensive orchestration, and Duren can be that centerpiece in defense, but they also, again, just have a lot of talent and a lot of complementary pieces around them that really, really work. So, shout out. We're buying. I mean, the Pistons are the classic, like, Eastern Conference, start the regular season really, really hot, young team, really out to prove something. Everybody's, do they know how to, the little things of even how to pace yourself, maybe even over the course of a regular season. Like, do they know how to gear up for a playoff run at this point? But, again, just judging at the, like, if Cade and Duren are those players, then, again, the Pistons do, I guess, have to be that team. And like we're saying, if we default to, Brunson and Towns and Bridges and, this New York team, and, to some degree, Mike Woodson with LeBron, he's been at least in winning environments to some, again, to some degree. Like, the fact that they've been down that path more times, maybe that would make you a little bit more comfortable picking them. But I would maybe, again, obviously put the Pistons talent right there. And New York does, get the grammar right here. They did do a good job, obviously, of improving the depth of that team and being, again, in position as a roster to look like they're in a decent spot to sustain a playoff run if they're, obviously, like anybody, healthy and stuff. But, yeah, Ayo, Pistons, maybe it's time to, and again, maybe it's just more me actually being like, yes, let's commit to taking them seriously. Like, when you're talking about teams, when you're talking about who can win the title, when you're talking about the competitive teams in the league, maybe you have to talk about, and you just have to start bringing them up as one of those teams. But, yeah, we'll see, I guess, again, if they can prove themselves in this All-Star game as well, it would be a bit of a turning point, because they're the only team with two players, and the two players on the same team. So you have Doncic and LeBron, and I go Jokic and Murray would both be on Team World as well too. But they're proven. We know what they are. As they're great teammates. They're a great duo, and they can definitely win the finals. They can win the finals this year if they're healthy and playing great. So again, they don't need the All-Star game to win us over. Jokic won't even be out there. But they will, Duran and Cade definitely do have that opportunity for sure. So I'm talking myself into the stars a little bit for sure. But I still think it's probably just easier to just default to say that, yeah, I mean, right now there is a little bit of overwhelming talent here on the veteran team. But again, it would be the distribution of the just the way the roster would line up as well too. But I mean, like Steph, like we're saying, like Steph is still, every bit right there for best guard in the league. Again, LeBron's gonna be point-ish. Steph playing off the ball, Durant off the ball as well, could be pretty deadly. I mean, Jaylen Brown, maybe some of the Jaylen Brown ISOs could be a little bit difficult. So that, honestly, maybe Kawhi does get some run. And then, yeah, you're really scary at that point. Brunson, Curry, LeBron, Durant, and then Kawhi if you're trying to run it quote-unquote full power. Again, Jaylen Brown's right there as well, too, for this season, having a great year. But he might, and, Kawhi, a little ISO as well, too. But defensively, obviously, a little bit better when he's locked in. So if you need that for an all-star game. But I think his ability to fit in with some of the superstars could be just a little bit more seamless than maybe Jaylen Brown. But, again, it's all right there for these great players. But, yeah, I would say team stripes over team world, just because I don't know if Jokic is going to commit. And Doncic as well, too, could be a little hit or miss. So Wemby and Shea, again, Wemby, Shea, Advia, and Kat in Siakam just going to battle against the Team USA is definitely going to be, a fun potential, lineup matchup that could happen. But, and, again, like Wemby and Shea is still pretty crazy if it's just like some of the guys aren't committed to locking in. But yeah, I think we're picking the veterans, chat. We're standing behind the OG talent. Hey, pause. It is what it is. We're picking them to win is maybe the better way to phrase it. Still LeBron, still Steph, still Durant. It is what it is. Even with Wemby out there, even with our guy, we still can't help but pick this era of basketball. It is what it is. So, people are going to criticize the league, got to put the other stars in potential limelight to succeed. And you can't still have LeBron as the face of the league and Steph can't be the face of the league and Durant's too old. It's like, hey, these guys are still pretty good at basketball. And you put them on a team against everybody else, like they still might win as well, too. It still might arguably be the three best. Again, arguably, I guess, again, LeBron and maybe a little, with the 3-point shot, we'll have to see. But it still could be the best three-man lineup in the league, or in the world, is what we're saying. And legitimately, if you add Kawhi and Brunson into that lineup, it would be, if you could just go Kawhi and Jaylen Brown, sorry to Brunson, that's a close one. But again, I think Brunson off the ball, I don't know. Jaylen Brown can lock in defensively. Off the ball 3-point shooting, I could see him stepping up and being clutch. I mean, this season you got to give him his credit, but Brunson, Steph, Durant, LeBron, and Kawhi, you could say that could be the best 5-man lineup in the world. Again, Wemby, Jokic, and Giannis, and Shea, and Doncic, just the all-world. We don't have to be creative. Just the other potential all-world lineup. Like, that is also just a crazy 5-man lineup at the peak of their powers, but I would be difficult to still pick against the LeBron team in that game if it was LeBron, Durant, Steph, like we said, against Jokic, Wemby, and Giannis. And it's still a little bit of Wemby right now as well, too, being a little, earlier on. Maybe, I don't know if there's some moments where his inexperience would cost him in the game. And then, Doncic as well, too, defensively can struggle at times. But, I mean, Shea, you just would have Jokic and Shea running pick and rolls. Like, with all due respect to Murray, like, Jokic and Shea alone would just be a little bit of an upgraded combo there. So, again, maybe the smart move would probably be to just pick the world. But, yeah, it would, of course, be a close game. I think Steph and Durant would be able to definitely still go toe-to-toe offensively with anybody at this point. But yeah, at least fun mixing up the any way of mixing up the lineups, honestly, is fine with me. Like, I'm not gonna complain too much. Variety is fine, but yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna necessarily like pick this to save the All-Star game, or if this is all of a sudden gonna have these guys committing to a more competitive game. Like, I guess the one thing would, of course, just be, I guess, you're more likely to play because your lineup is smaller, but you also play maybe a little less. So if you lose, then you don't have to play at all. Hey, there's the cheat code. And the league didn't consider that. The guys not wanting to play actually just want to lose. The game doesn't mean anything. But yeah, again, it should be fun to see at least, the hypotheticals of some of these guys out there. I guess Wemby and some of these, like, this is just the West as well, too. Jokic, Shea, Doncic, and Wemby. So that would have been, we would have seen that either way. Ayo, pause. And then it would have probably just been, obviously the fifth guy here, Steph or Durant would have been probably the other fifth option. And then Tyrese, maybe Anthony Edwards as well, too. But Durant probably gets it because of the Rockets' record at this point. So, and again, the Spurs are second as well too. So Wemby kind of has to have that as part of the factor. But yeah, Shea, Doncic, Wemby, Jokic, and Durant versus Cade, Tyrese. We would have maybe Cade and Duren both as starters, like we're saying. Cade, Duren, Tyrese, and then Giannis as the fourth. And then, I guess, Jaylen Brown. And we're forgetting about Brunson as well, too. So, Brunson, Brown, and then maybe Duren and Maxey. 4 guards? No, it's 4 guards. Cade, Maxey, Brunson, Brown, Duren. Hey, we're just naming guys at this point. It is what it is. Either way, we'll be tuning in. We're degenerates. We're watching. It doesn't even matter. They can just say they're trading with the NFL for the weekend. It'd be like the NFL's doing the All-Star weekend for the NBA, and the NBA's doing the Pro Bowl. That honestly might be the only thing that works at this point. Just have the NFL guys jump over and play a pickup game, and have the NBA guys go play flag football. I mean, that would probably be an insurance nightmare for both leagues. They would hate that. Like, not only do these guys not want to play in their own All-Star game, but now they're going to go try in a flag football game? Hey, yo. Like, you're just going to see, I mean, a Wemby running routes in a flag football game would be terrifying. I would hate. Now, not terrifying in terms of, I mean, it would be terrifying because, again, he's 7.5 feet tall. So how do you stop him? But the minute he goes up for a pass, and it's like, I guess him and Karl Towns are on the same team. But speaking of Duren, like Duren or Chet, hey, yo, like Chet's going to be like playing safety, like rotating over, onto Vic. He's going to be rotating onto Wemby. And Wemby's going to like run a go route. They're going to get a jump ball. Chet's going to, land under Wemby. Wemby's going to roll an ankle. I can just see like his knee just like buckling like crazy on some route. And it's just like, why are we playing flag football? Like, what is happening? But I don't know. Advia could be a sneaky like talent in that game. Could be fun. Shea, I think, could be pretty good at flag football as well too. Like Shea, I could just, Shea is like a running back receiver for sure. Devin Booker, Edwards, obviously. Hey, yo, he might be the number 1 pick of this whole thing. That might actually not benefit the veteran team. The veteran team might be a basketball-only team at this point. LeBron would definitely, like, I think if LeBron could play quarterback and there's, like, a no pass, like, if he's not going to get sacked, like, he might lock in. I don't know. It could be, like, that might be, like, that would honestly, I think, end the Jordan-LeBron debate. So there we go, LeBron. If you want to end the debate right now, you have a lot of power with Clutch Sports in the league in terms of influencing player movement. Get to the league office and tell them next year you're playing because the Pro Bowl is the Pro Bowl is Tuesday. It's next Tuesday. So is the Pro Bowl today? The Pro Bowl actually might have been today. Hey, what am I saying? So I mean that just shows you how irrelevant the Pro Bowl is at this point. That it literally just went by. And was the Pro Bowl today? Is that our question for ChatGPT? Was the Pro Bowl today? What happened? NFC wins the Pro Bowl trophy? Hey, yo, this is depressing. This is wild, depressing. NFC roars back to win. Joe Burrow cost another game. Hey, yo, chat. I don't know why I immediately thought of the Bills game. Is that wasn't like the last game? That was like, what week was that? Hey, yo. But that was, of course, I guess, a highlight game for him this year. Unfortunately, that didn't turn out. Shador Sanders, after Joe Burrow, Shador Sanders, Joe Flacco helped build AFC big lead. Oh, Shador Sanders highlights from the Pro Bowl. Oh, chat. You love to see it. Pro Bowl moved off his normal Sunday slot to fit in the Tuesday slot. Turns out that was a bad move. Hey, yo, you know what actually would have been probably something to throw on a Sunday? Would have been the Pro Bowl. Honestly, what they should do is have it on Saturday. Hey, yo, there's another idea for the Pro Bowls. Just have it that Saturday. Because this Saturday, honestly, was a little... I guess I don't want to say it was a little light. Because the NBA did have a Spurs... There was a Spurs Hornet... That's why it was a little light. Because the Spurs lost right after the start of the game. So... Or right at the start of the day. So, you know, put a depressing mood into everything. But, yeah. We had an NBA game early. And then, I guess, like, it was supposed to be a good... Yeah, we had a Spurs game early. DeBast and Peterson were playing in the middle of the day. That game turned out to be not necessarily, I guess, the most competitive game throughout, but still, you know, a highly competitive matchup. The environment in the pregame and that stuff was pretty lit, so, you know, was a little bit of excitement there. And the UFC event, you know, there's like some UFC fighting that was fun. Like, but you know, again, it was just kind of a random day. So not to say that it would have been the standout event. But it just would have been like, okay, you know, it's the weekend, nothing too crazy with sports that are on, like nothing that's gonna, you know, get like made, like just like, you know, just dump all over the Pro Bowl. Where it's just like, why is the Pro Bowl even out here? Where, you know, again on a Tuesday night, where it's just like, wait a second, you know, what's going on? Like the Pro Bowl's just on, like, you know, it's the work day. Like, you know, it's the work week. I don't know, like, you know, you get home during the work week, you throw on a little NBA. You know, we're not necessarily hockey fans or, you know, locking into baseball as well, too. But, you know, those are like those weekday sports that you just throw on. The NFL, obviously, Monday night is there. Thursday night is there. It's starting to even get into Friday night and Saturday night as well, too. But, like, Tuesday, I guess, is literally the one non-NFL day. So maybe they were trying to test it. But, hey, yo. So maybe we're trying to give the NBA one win over the NFL and say that the Pro Bowl was... actually an L there. But yeah, I think honestly, not to say the Saturday like the day before the Super Bowl, but just if you're gonna put it on the Tuesday of the week going into the Super Bowl, just have it on this Saturday before. So I think maybe the Super Bowl week, having it in that actual Super Bowl week in terms of the eventization of stuff and just probably scheduling all the events in that time period, I'm sure makes it a little bit easier. But I'm sure the NFL could make it work if they actually. And guess what? They could. You know, honestly, again, maybe this is really a, you know, I guess a you know, hopefully a grown-up episode, chat. Hey, yo, watching some documentaries over here, and now I'm thinking that maybe I'm okay with the Pro Bowl being canceled. Hey, yo, there would have been a time where it's like, maybe I'm not necessarily going to be watching the Pro Bowl, but I just want to have it around. And now it's to the point where, and it's not the same thing as well, too. It's obviously flag football and just games and stuff at this point. It's not actually the Pro Bowl. So, yes, I guess you can cancel this version of the Pro Bowl because the old game's already gone. I guess if you ask me right now, would you bring the old Pro Bowl format back? I would probably say yes, just because I, you know, would hope that the guys would want to play in a game, you know, and just at least run them out there. And if they play a bad game, then, you know, the odds that maybe one of the year it just stumbles into the right group of guys where it's like, yeah, let's get out there and try sometime. That maybe, you know, again, maybe it happens and they're just playing a good game. But I honestly just, like, you know, we're adults here, Chad. Hey, yo, what are we doing? We're watching YouTube. We're not watching these guys play dodgeball. What's going on? And maybe, you know, I guess speaking of YouTube, it wouldn't honestly be a YouTube. I have nothing against dodgeball. I don't know. It's just, I don't want to watch NFL guys play dodgeball. It is what it is. It's honestly more of like a reel. It's not a TV time block situation. You know, we want to watch the NFL guys play in the NFL. I mean, dodgeball has not necessarily ever even, like, they tried it as a sport as well, too. So, you know, shout out. I don't know if we have to do Rem and Sam backstory here, but, you know, we used to work at a trampoline park, so I'm not saying we know everything about dodgeball, but, you know, it was the forefront of dodgeball there for a second. So, you know, the trampoline dodgeball tournaments were pretty popular, and I'm sure they still are. But yeah, they were, I think, trying to run them on ESPN, and it's just like, again, they're not there today. So, again, it's like, I don't know why the NFL would be like, well, hey, let's just revive that with NFL guys. I mean, again, maybe bigger celebrities to some degree. I'm sure there's an argument there, but again, it's not like even game shows are doing dodgeball. It's not like celebrity dodgeball match is a thing. I mean, celebrity dodgeball match does sound like it could be a thing, but again, this is celebrity dodgeball match. I guess you could argue now as well too with the Pro Bowl. Is it celebrity dodgeball match? I don't know. Is it celebrity anything? But Shador is a celebrity. I mean, Shador got into the Pro Bowl because he is a celebrity. So I mean, I guess they're trying, but maybe that's what they do. Maybe they just bring in like Shabuzi to like play dodgeball against Shador Sanders. I don't know. Get. Who else? It seems like Shabuzi's just around to do things. I don't know. Pause. Like he'll just, I guess he just did like an NFL halftime one time. So I don't know why we think that he just is like, he's just around for the NFL. But I don't know. It just seems like if anybody would be down, I think, to do an NFL dodgeball game, I think Shabuzi would show up. For sure. I mean, Quavo's around to do Quavo will do like flag football things and, NBA events and stuff. So you get Quavo out there. Quavo and Shabuzi and the NFL guys, and they're playing dodgeball and flag football. That is honestly, I think that'll save the chat. We're over here saving stuff all over the place. Maybe we need to, hey, yo, what do we throw our hat in the ring for next time? What city do we want to set our sights on? I don't know. Hey, yo, maybe not the way to phrase that, but, for saving the Pro Bowl either way, we would, if you did do like celebrity versus real, because, for the NBA, and maybe the NBA needs to try this as well too. They had the celebrity game, and, it's fun to some degree to watch celebrities. And again, if they are locked into picking to some degree, and I guess they do try, but if you get a good basketball game, like it's fun, but again, you're not going to get a good basketball game in terms of like an NBA game. So you need another gimmick to actually get you to not just watch the game, but you need a gimmick to actually keep you watching the game. Because tuning into the introductions is fun, and like the first 7 minutes of the celebrity game is like, I guess it's not like the first 7 minutes of like a finals game where like the crowd's on their feet and everybody's just going crazy. And it's like, oh, I can't believe we made it. But, again, at least it's like, oh, again, it's cool that like, Machine Gun Kelly's out there like dribbling around, like, hey, yo, like, who doesn't like to see Machine Gun Kelly take a jumper every now and then? Like, that's fun. Hey, Machine Gun Kelly and Shabuzi playing flag football against the NFL guys. Like, I'm telling you right now, I just told you, I don't watch the Pro Bowl. I'm not interested in watching the guys play dodgeball or like, again, I do probably want to look up the reel and see if they did the catching the punts from the drone competition again, because that is kind of fun. I would honestly just like to rent a drone and try that myself. But the NFL versus celebrity matchup, that is actually something I think I would tune into. And again, I would actually watch it for the NBA as well too. If it was, I don't even know who is, if it was like Drewski, and maybe the NBA is actually too, I think the NFL is pretty unfair as well too. I mean, shout out, maybe not to be unfair to Drewski there, but maybe, maybe, it is what it is. I don't know, pick and roll with Drewski, I think it could work. But that, honestly, I think would be better. They need a fourth team in the round robin. They need to just, no, I guess I like the celebrity game, so I hate to wipe away, pause, one of my favorite events to, add to another event. It is what it is, but if we merge the celebrity game into the All-Star game and just made one event, then maybe it's better. I don't know. But, and then maybe Shador Sanders could be the quarterback of the celebrity team. I guess you could also do veteran team versus current team, which that could be fun as well too. And if it was flag football, you could probably get some guys to show up for that. Like, would Randy Moss go out there right now and play a game? Like, I don't think that we would hold it against Randy Moss's legacy. Like, if Randy Moss, and I'm going to, use this example because I want to be optimistic about the trade the Colts made, and Sauce Gardner was not in the Pro Bowl this year, so again, I'll use it as an example because it wouldn't have happened this year. But if Sauce Gardner were to like lock up Randy Moss in the Pro Bowl, Like, we wouldn't necessarily be like, wait a second, is Randy Moss the greatest receiver of all time because he couldn't get past a Pro Bowl cornerback at like 47? I don't know how old Randy Moss is right now, but it's like, okay, again, it's like we get 62-year-old receiver out there running routes against corner, whatever. It's like, okay, at some point, it's going to be unfair to the actual, veteran guy, but I still want to see it happen. I still want to see it. You know what everybody watched? And this is, I'm building the pitch right now. This is great. I can't believe that the leagues haven't looked at this now. Now that I think about this, I can't, you're going to, and you probably already even thought of the example, but when I give you the example, it's going to make the idea actually $1 million idea because it's already been proven to be $1 million idea. This is exactly what Netflix did with Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. This is the Mike Tyson-Jake Paul fight. And Jake Paul's not even a real boxer. We got him, chat. Hey, yo, boom, boom. Knocked out again, but this time from the Rem and Sam pod. You didn't see that one happening, did you? But, hey, yo, it is what it is. Step in the ring with the Rem and Sam pod on a Tuesday night. You never know what happens. But this formula works. If anything, we're giving him compliment. Jake Paul's he's a businessman, not a boxer. And I don't. Now we can't unfortunately ever get a dinner reservation at the same restaurant at Jake Paul. Not to say that we ever would have, but unfortunately now it's really off the table because I guess if he ever checks the tapes, we're toast. It is what it is. So now we have to train. We have to try to out-train the popularity of the pod before Jake Paul sees this glimpse. We have to somehow be. I'm not saying it's not a turn and fight Jake Paul. Because we're in different weight classes. I can admit it. We started off this pod by freestyling, so I can be honest. I don't know if we need to drop a freestyle. Like I can't. Well, I'm not gonna say you can't be Jay Paul. But I'm just gonna. I'm not. We are. I'm gonna say that we're not gonna go into a fight trying to win against Jake Paul. I will approach the fight trying to get out of the fight. It is what it is. I don't want to fight Jake Paul. The guy's knocked out Tyron Woodley. You know what? You know who also is going to beat me up in a fight? Tyron Woodley. So I'm going to avoid Jake Paul. I probably would have told Mike Tyson to avoid Jake Paul as well too, especially at this point. But prime Mike Tyson, we're sending Mike Tyson, shout out. I'm taking that poly market on prime Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, every day of the week and just hope it's not the all-time Buster Douglas situation. There's multiple layers even going on there if it's Jake Paul. But I don't. What am I talking about? Getting in a fight with Jake Paul? Hey, what are we even saying? We're complimenting him. We're saying that he gave us the formula. He gave us the formula to, and you say, well, it's not an all-star game, but it's an exhibition event. It's an exhibition event that, again, quote unquote, doesn't matter. It doesn't go to your record. It's about making money and it's about entertainment. So you got to figure out, I guess, if you're the Pro Bowl, how are you going to make money? How are you going to get people to watch this thing? And you know how you're going to get people to watch this thing? Jerry Rice. I guess, again, with all due respect to Dion, shout out. Again, Dion, some of the health stuff, it is what it is. Maybe he's not in a position at this point to, be playing in a flag football game, but maybe a couple plays, it's a Pro Bowl. Like what, Dion has to sign up for the whole game? Like what, if Dion wants to go out and run a route, wants to be a corner on a route for a couple plays, he can't do that. Who cares? The veteran team can just be whatever. We don't have to announce the veteran roster. Maybe that's the Royal Rumble aspect of the event. It's the Pro Bowl roster versus a veteran roster, and you just you show up and it's like, hey yo, Jerry Rice still, I would just want to see it. I would just want to see Jerry Rice run around, and I think the Pro Bowl guys could still make it work as well too. Maybe there would be a respect where it's like, hey, in a Pro Bowl, maybe I kind of want to let Jerry Rice get one, again, I'm sure the competitive nature would never allow that. It is what it is. Once you actually get out there, it's like, okay, which of these, I like the idea of I get the idea of if Jerry Rice were to win the route, then it's like, well, respect. Hey, I got toasted by Jerry Rice. I guess I never thought that was going to happen. But then you're also like, wait a second, some 60-year-old guy just routed me up. What happened there? You actually line up across from a guy and you're like, well, I guess he's not going to win the route. It is what it is. So again, maybe in theory, you could, compromise. You could console your loss there with that. But yeah, I think that would honestly, I'm not even joking at this point. This is serious business. This is serious business. This is an email to the league. This is a DM at this point to the league at this point. It needs to, because again, the NFL with the flag football situation, I think it is manageable. You could even do like a 50-yard field. It doesn't have to be a full field. We're already into a fake game. It's flag football. Hey, yo, we're not even trying. I guess it's probably already on a smaller field at this point. Just put it like Arena Football League. Just put it in like an Arena Football League size field. You can sell more. You can sell like VIP tickets around the field, so then people are, hey, on the field watching Jerry Rice in a Pro Bowl against, Patrick Surtain's locking up Jerry Rice. I mean, Jerry Rice just can't even get 5 yards on the field. Now we're being disrespectful to Jerry Rice. You know what? Jerry Rice is going to win 1 out of every 4, I'm telling you right now, he's winning 1 out of every 4 routes. That team is picking up first downs for sure. 7-on-7 flag football, no offensive line. Now we don't even know the rules, but what was that, like two offensive linemen? What do you get? A quarterback and a couple weapons. So, maybe it's 7-on-7, a couple plays, and then a couple guys sit out. It's 5-on-5, a couple other plays. Again, it's a fake game. Who cares? Be maybe a little less. I guess they're not strict already, but Joe Burrow versus Joe Burrow getting sacked by Lawrence Taylor. He's like, hey, yo, I go to the Pro Bowl where I think it's going to be easy, and all of a sudden Lawrence Taylor's running at me. Like, I thought this was going to be easy. And why is Robert Mathis all of a sudden out of retirement, just like barreling down at the pass where like 5 Mississippi count, here's, any legendary pass rusher, I guess, in history. But yeah, that could work for a season. I say give it a year. I think, and I guess here we go. I just thought of the NBA version of it. The NBA, I guess in some ways 3-on-3 can be a little more tiring, but NBA 3-on-3, the big three's already doing it. Pause. That would be the win for Ice Cube right there. If the NBA signs a contract with Big 3 you could literally do a crossover. All-Star Game crossover right there. There you go. We just created another event. That's what you need, another All-Star event. But All-Star Game crossover, Big 3 versus current NBA. So it's Victor Wembanyama and Shea and, Jamal Murray versus Joe Johnson. Maybe it's just the nightcap pod. I guess Shannon and Ocho didn't play, but, you got Joe Johnson and maybe, I don't know, get like Andrew Bogut out of retirement or something. I don't know who can still, run around, especially maybe for centers could be, a little more difficult respectfully. But, I'm sure a lot of the guards and wings and stuff could still potentially be there as well too. And, again, speaking of our guy Simmons, it was getting more shout outs. None of this on Netflix. It is what it is. But we saw the clip of one of the shorts about an NBA Royal Rumble, which was like a 1-on-1 tournament, which I guess was a version of that. So what of that? Of a version of that. But so maybe I am kind of subconsciously blending the idea together there as well too. I'm just making it a 3-on-3 game instead of, because it was like a 1-on-1 style tournament of that. But I would say, hey, work it into the NFL as well too. Do like 7-on-7 flag football and do 3-on-3, or like in the clip that we were seeing for that was like a King of the Hill style 1-on-1 tournament. So it's like, a score, once the person maintains control of the court, then, score twice to get the control of the court. Or if the king of the court scores once, then they can keep going at that point. So, you can keep bringing legends out to battle each other. Chris Webber can go out there and battle, again, like we're saying, Pascal Siakam versus Chris Webber. And then Chris Webber is going to score twice on Siakam. It's like, whoa, Chris Webber just knocked out Pascal Siakam. Hey, yo. So, again, there is, I think, but maybe that's the consensus. So maybe it's right. Maybe like I'm saying that Jake Paul, Mike Tyson thing, maybe there is sort of a fan want out there for a legendary crossover type thing. Like we're saying, the Big 3 is showing it a little bit as well too. But like we're saying with the other idea, bring celebrities into it. Make a celebrity, a King of the Hill celebrity would be fun. Again, are we expecting Quavo to go out there and drop a bucket on Anthony Edwards? Not really, but guess what? I still want to see it happen. I still want to see a normal guy go out there and just see, again, with all respect, put up for the normal. I guess Quavo played. So I don't know. Did he play like Division? I don't know. Division One. I guess I don't know. He's like a Power 5, college basketball player. I don't know if he got to that level, but I think he was, at least I'm sure in high school and stuff. Again, I don't remember exactly what the biography was when they were, when they were highlighting him for the celebrity game. We'd have to go back and check the basketball career. But again, like he was actually playing on a level. So, I don't know what the representation for guys that literally never played would be for All-Star game. Did Drake ever play like in any AAU teams ever? Because he was like a child actor as well too, so he might not have had time. Hey yo, that would be his diss track version to Respond. But it would still not, it still would be fact of the matter. It's like, if you weren't on an AAU team. So he would get out there and play. Get Lethal Shooter out there in an All-Star weekend? Lethal Shooter and what was Shabuzi, Lil Nas X? I don't know. Now I'm forgetting All-Star rosters from the Celebrity Games rosters from the last couple years. Hey, yo, it was, and it did used to be better as well, too. Like, again, obviously, we were a kid, so it was just, more impressive. But go back and watch Arnie Duncan highlights and tell me the man was not balling. And they, Terrell Owens was throwing down dunks. Like, we have had some dunks. There's been some sprinters and stuff that have been dunking. But, I don't know, those guys, they don't really have the name value, with all due respect. If something like if it was like the Olympic sprinter from one of our favorite athletes of all time is Usain Bolt. And I'm over here, dissing all the sprinters. I'm just saying there's some Olympians that make the celebrity game. It's like if they were the celebrity that you brought out in the King of the Hill, it may be a little bit of like shout out. I look him up on Instagram and see what's going on here. But like Bad Bunny, like if you just brought Bad Bunny out for a position, I don't even know if Bad Bunny plays basketball. But just let him go out there and shoot. I'm trying to think. There was like some moment where DJ Khaled was out on the court during an All-Star game. I feel like if you're locked into the NBA, you know what we're talking about at this point. I don't even really remember what the moment is, but here, let me see if I can find out what happened. NBA All-Star game. DJ Khaled NBA All-Star game. Or maybe it was just a normal NBA game. Was it like a halftime or something? Best moments from DJ Khaled All-Star Saturday Night 2017. Hopefully the NBA doesn't copyright strike us here. Oh, this was the same season that Rihanna was at the finals? Oh, chat. What a moment for the NBA. Rihanna and DJ Khaled at the silent in the same. I mean, obviously, like spikes there as well too all season for New York. So there are celebrities putting in the work all the time that, shout out, need to have the respect. Yeah, it was a 3-point contest. What was this? Because Kevin Hart had a 3-point contest against Draymond one year. Yeah, Anthony Anderson's there as well too. DeAndre Jordan versus DJ Khaled? He's just in a dunk contest. DJ Khaled's just assisting him in a dunk contest attempt. See, I don't know who all was in these, who all was in this shot, but yeah, he was just hit it. I guess not even a half court shot, just a 3-pointer. It is what it is. I guess impressive enough, but it might have been like some charity thing where they were, every time they made a bucket, of course, donations. So, obviously the extra hype there is definitely warranted. But yeah, I think that is a good way to, DJ Khaled, if it was King of the Hill 1-on-1, if it was 3-on, maybe that works a little better as well too, because again, it's like the 3-on-3 now, what we're saying, you have to sustain the game. Like, do we want to watch a full game of like DJ Khaled and Lil Baby and Travis Scott like playing, 3 NBA guys? Like, it is probably going to get out of hand pretty quickly. It would. I'd probably get to 11-0 pretty quick. So I guess we wouldn't have to, sit through it too long. But you could, of course, like we're saying, bring out a celebrity that's fun, and then all of a sudden, that possession goes quick, but then bring out another NBA guy, another current guy that, maybe actually is competitive or, of course, takes over at that point as well too. But if it's like, all of a sudden DJ Khaled is walking out trying to battle for King of the Court, who would not love that as a potential mix-up for the All-Star weekend? So both these leagues could take a little bit of I think, advice there from the online consensus and say that the combination of celebrities and veterans and professional talent overlapping together in these games is is the way to make it work. Like a golf pro-am as well too. Don't actually have a golf event. That's what the NBA just heard there. They're like, oh, a golf event. That's a great idea. Why not have a golf event? But no, we're saying like have them actually play whatever sport is relevant to that. But what does it say? Pre-game, AFC coach Steve Young gave his team an inspiring speech about how his players are. Oh, that's right. Team USA, LA Olympics. Flag football will be participating there. So, obviously DJ Khaled and Anthony Anderson would be great sort of, practice for preparing for the 2028 Olympics. Could we send DJ Khaled and Anthony Anderson to the 2028 Olympics and still win? Is this going to be like, back in the early days of the Olympics? Hey, when it was just like, or when America, when we were at the peak of our powers, or especially for the NBA, where it's mainly what I'm thinking of, where it's just like, okay, here's this new American sport. I guess football not new, but I guess here's this new sport that we're going to introduce to the Olympics. That's like definitely very American dominant at this point, and we're just going to completely, wipe the field with everything. I guess it would be, of course, the international talent in the NFL at this point, how that is distributed throughout these teams, what that looks like, but you would still assume that Team USA at this point would, be the most dominant. Are we having Mahomes for 2028 as our Olympic quarterback? Is Drake May going to take Mahomes' spot as the Olympic quarterback? Oh, no. I don't know. Or is this, chat, 2028? I hate to build the roster now, but wait a second. Let's see how many players we get, because I just thought of our quarterback. And I'm telling you, he's going to lead us to victory. You may not think he is, but I don't know who else is going to be playing as well, too. Again, there are some other guys that I can think of. I'm not going to start connecting guys and, potential teams. But what do we have here for potential rules? Launch within the next couple of years, 2028 Summer Olympics, committed to creating a women's professional league and men's professional flag league. Great deal of interest. Oh, that's Goodell with some of the NFL stuff. In addition to pro flag leagues, Goodell also announced the NFL will be returning to Azteca Stadium in 2026 as well too. Hey, so next article, we'll see if we can find out more about what is happening here. Continue to cite more info. No, here. What do we want here? Mexico Showcase again. Shout out. Good to see it. Love that it's happening. But USA Flag Football's governing body and member of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Committee. The decision to add flag football to Los Angeles is acknowledgement of the sport's tremendous international growth and appeal as a fast and exciting competitive sport. Yeah, we do tend to like it over here in the old USA. Sports and Fitness Industry Association, so 7.1 million participants. Ooh, make that 7.1 million and one when your boy signs up to play flag football this summer. Hey, we're not actually probably, but maybe who knows? Do I see myself as like a community flag football guy? I don't know. I mean, I definitely do, just because we like putting up stats. Just because I want to go get into some league and just go put up stats in a league. That's really it. But I don't know if I actually want to be in a community flag football league. But hey, maybe times change. Again, I didn't think I'd be watching documentaries and caring if the Pro Bowl went away. So, again, time, you never know what will happen there. So, yeah, we don't really know what the team makeup of these teams are. But I think this could be Anthony Richardson's opportunity to revitalize his career. I'm just spelling Cooper Flag's name now at this point. It is what it is. Team USA flag football, Cooper Flag on the flag football team could potentially work as well too. I mean, he is tall, so there could be a Anthony Richardson and Cooper Flag. We may be getting silver at this flag football tournament. It is what it is. Here we go. Olympic flag football, Team USA. It has to be 7-man, right? Is that just the basic flag football? Is that the default USA flag football rules? Do we have a default Team USA flag football rules? Hey, we don't necessarily have anything else going on here. A Los Angeles. Oh, wait a second. I think we just clicked on the wrong one. Our investigative skills are not necessarily very sharp in figuring this out. We're going to frequently asked questions about the Olympics. Hey, yo, what are we doing here, chat? How often are the Olympics? How long do the Summer Olympics last? Hey, yo, which country will host the 2030 Olympics? No, we just want to know what the rules are for Team USA flag football 2028 rules. Okay, we finally just have to ask, I guess. It is what it is. Let's see. Flag football rules. Okay, this has to be it, chat. We finally made it. Our destination has arrived. Each team has four players? Is that what it said? Wait a second. Each team has 4 plays to advance the ball past midfield. Once crossing midfield, we award a first down, and then the team has 4 plays to get the ball over the goal line. Okay, so that type of strategy will matter to maybe teams that are more used to some of the play calling in this environment. Though, immediately looking at this picture right here, I mean, you love to see, of course, that the sport is making, gross, again, 7.1 million players. But maybe we do need some more coaching and some more, just the technique maybe needs to be a little bit better, because this is, the ball security here is definitely lacking from this running back. This could be like an interception. This could definitely be an interception in a corner returning an interception, because I can't imagine that, a receiver coach, a flag football receiver coach, would be allowing this type of behavior. But I would see a corner probably wearing long sleeves more than a receiver would definitely go sleeveless. A corner would probably go long sleeves. So I think this is just a receiver just, being cool. It is what it is. Shout out. I mean, again, it is a cool picture for sure. But is this football 101? I don't know. I don't know if the rule book would necessarily approve of the way he's carrying the football there. It is what it is. But shout out. Anytime I see that, of course, I think of Marcus Allen. Shout out. Iconic. I don't know if he's the number 1 for that. I think Walter Payton used to kind of go one hand. Whoa, hey, yo. Whoa. Pause. But I think he used to carry the football with one hand like that a little bit as well, too. But for some reason, for me, Marcus Allen is one of the first ones that I think of. Hey, yo, we have to story time real quick as we wind down the live stream here. But I had an Ayo, we hate to pat ourselves on the back here as well too. But I did Ayo, and more to just mention the team as well. But we were just randomly headed back to the kitchen at one point to work. I've just filling up a water pitcher or something. I don't know. Just really walking around, killing time. Just hanging out. But we were walking back, and somebody was, I don't even know what they were talking about, but apparently they were describing, I guess, somebody as a sports fan to somebody, and they were like, hey, the point where we walked over was them saying, and it's like he could tell you, who won the Rose Bowl in 1962, and then I just said USC, and I was like, oh, that might actually be right, and it depends on how you look at it. It depends on how you look at it, because USC, I think, did end up winning the Pro Bowl the Rose Bowl for the 62 season, but the Rose Bowl itself was 63, and Minnesota won the Rose Bowl in the year 62, but it would have been for the 61 season. So Marcus Allen made me think of that as well too, because USC running back. But I was like, that's the best trivia moment of my life right there, is just randomly getting this Pro Bowl, or this, hey, we almost mixed it. See, I've now called it the Pro Bowl twice, so I've immediately now just, I'm stupid again, chat. Hey, yo, it is what it is. But, it was I guess probably not the craziest guess, USC winning a Rose Bowl game back in the day. And that is also, I wasn't even thinking about this as well, too, when I guessed. But, of course, the Rose Bowl did used to be Pac-12 versus Big Ten. So, I'm honestly, when I thought about them, I'm just lucky that I said a team from both those conferences, honestly. Back then, I was half joking because I was thinking about OJ, and I was like 62. I was like, OJ might have gone to USC in 62. They went a Rose Bowl back then. They might have, but yeah. So I mean, USC, of course, rest in peace, the Pac-12 and OJ. But rest in peace, Pac-12 as well too. So I wasn't even thinking of USC as a Pac-12 team from back in the day. Maybe Pac-8 back in 62. Hey, yo. But speaking of, well, hey, yo, never mind. Whoa. Hey, yo. We saved ourselves there. It is what it is. Probably could have done it a couple of different times at night as well, too. But at least that time, we did self-censor. It is what it is. But, yeah, shout out to flag football for getting introduced to the 2028 Olympics. I guess we could actually finish looking up the rules here. No run zone, depending on the set of rules being enforced. A no run zone depends team from conducting run plays. While no run zone teams cannot run the ball in any fashion, all plays must be run plays. According to USA flag football rules, no run zone is a 5-yard imaginary zone before each end zone, which also includes no run zones within 5 yards of each side of midfield. Okay, so you can't run, like, you can't just, like, run to the first down and just run to the end zone. So you have to actually, and that makes sense, obviously. With no offensive lines, like, you can just hand the ball off and, like, step over 5 yards, and all of a sudden you're just, picking up easy little chunk plays. So, yes, you do have to throw the football to pick up a first down, throw the football to score. Defenders who blitz must line up at least 7 yards by the line of scrimmage. All blitzers must be self-identified by raising one hand in the air. It is illegal for any offensive player to impede the path of a blitzer at any time. So the complete opposite of the real NFL. You just can't, well, I guess, who blocks a blitzer these days, but, complete pass to the quarterback in this case. Obviously, flag football, so a little bit different, but still, just the mental of that, who knows? Are the quarterbacks in the NFL ready for it? Maybe the flag football guys are going to be the ones that are actually prepared. So, yeah, we still don't know. Oh, no linemen are blocking. So, yeah, the center snaps the ball and becomes a receiver. All forms of contact are forbidden. So, yeah, Ayo, makes sense. So, you got to have, like, Myles Garrett or Aaron Donald as your center, or I don't know, like Tyler Warren. We just gotta send the Colts. That's really what it is. I think we do have to send the Colts, honestly. I hate to, call it 2 years out. It is what it is. But Anthony Richardson at quarterback, because he can run around as well too, and create. I guess we can't run, but if he has to avoid a blitz, that honestly could be our offense. Is they blitz and Anthony Richardson just takes off and runs? That's money. That's honestly money offense. But Tyler Warren, our center, because he could, not that you need, again, a guy to block, but he could if a fight broke out. And he is a really great receiver because he's a tight end and just a great receiver as well, too. I mean, Quentin Nelson could be the center and we just have him as a receiver for fun. Would be a good move as well, too. But, I mean, Alec Pierce. We have a pretty versatile receiver core, I think, with guys that could play both. I guess I don't know if you have to play both sides of the field, but now that we have Sauce Gardner, Latu, Nick Cross, the safety, Kenny Moore, the corner. The Colts are stacked. Hey yo, but I think Anthony Richardson and Tyler Warren have to be on the flag football team for 2028. Is what we say. Though Shador as well too. Do we take two quarterbacks? Anthony Richardson's our tight end. Hey, yo, we hate to do it, but, Shador, make Shador running back? I don't know. What are we going to do? Also make Lamar receiver? What's going on here? Hey, yo. But, we were just trying to, send our favorite players to the Olympics. That's all. But, shout out, I guess, the Pro Bowl, flag football. It is what it is. Do we have to mention the other trades that happened? They are maybe a little smaller in terms of the name value scale. What was the fourth? Oh, Ivy was the other trade. Vooch and Simons, is, I guess, not smaller scale. Boston getting a C. Hey, yo. ESPN, not a fan of Vooch, apparently. Or a Simons, because they gave Chicago a C+. And I don't even know why I was thinking about this as well, too. But, hey, yo, now they have Simons, Ivy, and Josh Giddey. Maybe we save Chicago in a second. But Vooch, anyways, to Boston, I think is good because Simons has been, like a fine rotation guy for him this year. But I do also wonder if this is a little bit of maybe they are actually, and, again, hate to pirate other takes here. But I do wonder if this is a little of a, and I guess I don't know if this is actually a take that somebody made, but just the thought of Tatum returning is, I guess, the take that I'm pirating. But I do wonder if this trade specifically is a Tatum returning type of trade, because this does give them a more, and they do need front court help as well, too, more than backcourt help. So with Pritchard and Derek White and Jaylen Brown, like you have three guys there. that can hold down some of those minutes. Obviously, they've been able to get away with some wing minutes with some of the younger guys as well too, and just upgrading that center spot would help this version of the roster be a little bit more of a complete roster. But if they were getting Tatum back, Simons just as a ball handler, wing, guard guy would of course get a little bit less minutes, though Tatum of course more 3-4, but still I think would yeah, 6-man, maybe not. Who knows? But again, we saw Porzingis have success on the Celtics, so I guess maybe Vooch could as well too. He's not, of course, the offensive spark plug that Porzingis was at the time that they got him, or now, or whatever. But maybe more of a spark plug now than Porzingis is now. But I don't know if he could be. I don't know if he could do what Porzingis did to the Mavs in the finals quite. But I think he could still give them. He could still have given them enough to win the finals in that year for sure. Especially if they were playing the Mavs again. But again with Tatum fully healthy, Brown as well too, like we're saying, that version of the team. But yeah, that's fine. Swapping second round picks as well too. In Chicago is like kind of making fun moves for some fun players. I guess now to say for the Ivy side of things as well too, to see what that trade fully ended up being. Yeah, they got Ivy and Conley as part of the salary move, Herder and Saric, and a first. So they did get a first round swap for Jaden Ivey. Yeah, see, that does seem a little low. So again, Garland and Ivy, both, again, their values. James Harden, low value for Darius Garland, but maybe not the trades we would have necessarily have thought in the past. Jaren Jackson, you get 3 first-round picks and a couple players, is a pretty good haul. But yeah, maybe a little lighter for those guys, again, for them being the 4th and 5th picks in the draft back in the day. I guess Sarge and Herder can definitely help you this year. And again, we were just talking about the Pistons, they could win the finals. So honestly, you know what? Screw it. This move's better. You get a first round pick and Herder gives you 3-point shooting. Why not? Who cares? I do like Ivy obviously as the best player in the trade, and that's why it's a great move for Chicago. But in terms of winning the finals this year, you're not going to be worse off having 2 rotation guys. That's for sure. But yeah, with Giddey being able to, kind of have a little bit of a career resurgence in Chicago, I get that's a lot of guards for sure. But again, Chicago, they're not winning games. So, have fun lineups and take chances with players and, figure it out. I think Ivy and Giddey is actually really fun together as well too. I think that's the most fun lineup they've had since, I was going to say Jordan and Pippen, but hey, what are they? Derrick Rose. So, shout out. Neither of those guys are Derrick Rose, with all due respect. It is what it is. But, as a duo, Rose and Noah, I guess as a backcourt, what do they have, like Ben Gordon and Kirk Heinrich? This is the best backcourt duo. I guess they had Butler with Derrick Rose. Did they have Ben Gordon? Maybe Kirk Heinrich overlapped there as well too. Here, I'll look up the Ben Gordon run. Shout out. I don't know why Jaden Ivey's giving me Ben Gordon vibes, but Ben Gordon was a really, really good player. So Ben Gordon and Josh Giddey together in 2025 pause would be like the hypothetical of that. Could be a fun, who is that might honestly be just that lineup reincarnated. I don't know if Kirk Heinrich's obviously a better 3-point shooter. Better shooter than Gibby, than Giddey. Ayo, Gibby, shout out. Gibby's just a guy in our friend group. Ayo, shout out. So I'm just thinking about Gibby when we're saying Josh Giddey. Ayo, it is what it is. We're back to freestyling. I don't know if we're in pause territory with that bar, but let's see here. We've got our guy Ben Gordon from Chicago in 05 to 08. And yes, 6th man of the year that rookie year, and then got some 6th man of the year votes as well too in the 07-08 season. And then Detroit, what do we got? 6'3", 200 for Ben Gordon. What's Ivy, like 6'5"? And he is pretty fast, so I don't know if Ben Gordon's the speedster that Jaden Ivey's. Oh, Jaden Ivey, 6'3", 195. Oh, it's perfect. He's 8 points a game this year, but 45% from the field, 37% from 3. I think I like this move. I think the Bulls might be a fun watch team for us now. Giddey and Ivy is great. Ayo Dosunmu, that is a lot of overlapping players there for sure. But again, Simons is unfortunately for our pro Simon stock. Again, he's been traded a couple times now. He wasn't able to. Again, thoroughly impact that Celtics roster, get to the point where they felt like they needed to keep him regardless of what was going on there, because he does, I think, have that level of talent. And how am I forgetting about Matas? I almost called him Mutas. Hey, yo, what are we doing over here? Because I'm thinking of Buzelis, but our guy Matas, yeah, I knew I was forgetting somebody, but I was just thinking of the backcourt players there. But yeah, if you have Matas, Ivy, and Giddey, that's a fun offensive team if Ivy is back to being an athletic threat there. And again, him and Giddey, and they complement each other well. Like, they do actually make sense together a little bit on the basketball court. Like, again, Giddey is obviously a really great distributor, so Matas kind of being a playmaker scorer combo, makes him versatile as well too. And Ivy does have that 3-point shot developing, but just his athletic nature is just just him being explosive and attacking the basket, and then Giddey kind of being, a herky-jerky passer is just a contrast of styles that I think aligns really, really well. And again, with Matas as well too, and Dosunmu, like, I think those 4 guys can play together. Do they have a center besides Zach Collins? Ayo, out with a toe injury. Will return before the All-Star break. Oh, I guess unfortunately for Bulls fans. Oh, and they have Trey Jones. Oh, Jalen Smith. That's right, they have Jalen Smith as well. Patrick Williams hanging out, maybe playing small ball 5. So I guess if they're looking in the draft now, I guess they really don't care about the center spot. Vooch, their one actual center that they have. Again, they are in the play-in. So yeah, right now they are 13th. I mean, maybe they're a Koa Pete team. Was Koa Pete like a forward? Maybe like a small ball 5? What do we got here? Darius Acuff right now on Tankathon. I guess probably hasn't quite updated yet from the events of the day. We'll see what he's got going on here. 1 day ago. Oh, he updated yesterday, and then everybody made moves. It is what it is. I'm sure he's going to update, within the next couple of days anyway. So, he'll get back around to it. It is what it is. But they are, at 13 right now. So our guy Yaxel at power forward, I guess a little more win now. Maybe there isn't the center prospect this year, because, again, it is all kind of guards and forwards at the top of the draft. Peterson, Boozer, Dembasta, Wilson, Keaton, Mikael Brown. I mean, yeah, 6'9" and under for everybody over here. What do we got? A bunch of shorties. Caleb Wilson, 6'10", could be, I guess if you tanked at this point, now you bring in Ivy, you tanking. I don't even, and we're saying we like the trade. But, as a play-in team as well, too, they're still fine as a play-in team. That's a perfect play-in team. Gibby, what's this team? Ivy, Giddey, Josh Giddey, not our friend Gibby, Josh Giddey, and then, but Gibby on this team as well too. I'm sure with those guys, get some open corner threes every now and then. I'm sure he's clutch when it matters. So we got Haynes Steinbach as a power forward center, maybe in here, 6'11". Jaden Quintance from Kentucky as well in the top 12 lottery pick, power forward is listed here. Oh, the Duke center, Pat 2. Hey, yo, call him Patrick. Shout out. I don't want to butcher the last name in February, so we'll, with all due respect, shout out our guy Patty 2 from Duke. Is another center. Oh, we got the center prospects here, I guess, more toward the bottom of the draft. It's probably just the positional pause, the way the league is viewed. And of course, if you're not, like we're saying, the Jokic, Giannis type, like if a Duran type, Duran was in this draft, he'd be in the lottery again. It is what it is. He was highly valued prospect back then as well too. But Jefferson, they have listed more small forward, power forward. And then, yeah, Mara, like a real, center there. Not even like a Klingon-esque prospect here in the draft. Darren Peterson to Sacramento. Hey, yo, can I be the first one to say Ben McLemore? Oh, chat. Hey, yo. Oh, man, I hate to, end the pod on a bummer note. Like, I'm sorry that Ben McLemore has to be a bummer note, I guess. It is Ben McLemore. We're pro Ben McLemore here on the, I guess we double-check the Ben McLemore Wikipedia, I guess. But as a basketball player, Ben McLemore was talented. You can't deny it. It is what it is. And you know what? We'll give props where props is due. You have to credit the talent. You have to credit the talent. So shout out there. But hey, yo, in terms of trades, I think we covered a pretty good deal there. We saved the Pro Bowl, the second half of this Blazers Suns game is about to fire up. Hey, yo, what do we fall asleep to a little Denny Advia versus Dylan Brooks? I mean, chat, sounds like another great Tuesday night to me. Hey, yo. So we better, we better go hit the A. It is what it is. But, hey, yo, chat, we're the only, I guess I was going to say we're the only live stream just, we're probably not the only live stream just going to bed right afterwards. Old man era. It is what it is. Out here Googling clubs that James Harden would go to and just being like, we're just going to go sleep afterwards. I guess what are we going to do? Go to Cleveland and hit up the virtual, not the virtual, the Society Lounge? The Velvet Underdog? What was it called, chat? Hey, yo. Oh, man. What's Underdog? What's up, dog? Oh, yeah, now we're in the weeds. I don't know. We're lost at this point. We got Friday's the next live stream. Is J. Cole dropping an album Friday? I think so. I think we'll be here reacting. I'm still debating if we're going to listen to it beforehand and not do the instant live reaction. We've been, of course, that's the way we've been approaching the album reactions as of late for, last year. And it's been great. We've fortunately last year, had some great album experiences, even in some of the albums that, it was all the instant classic, blah, blah, blah. We listened to a ton of great albums last year. I was thinking back to the Summer Walker album I was listening to that one again today. I was like, there's so many great albums. Hey, yo, Chad, what are we doing? We're making great music out here these days. But we got, I was saying, like, again, Ayo, obviously, we tread lightly with some of the names, but, the Clips album, shout out Malice, was was dropped last year. We got to listen to that live reactions to that on the pod. Jid and Gunna both dropped in the same day last year. Week number, I don't know if that'll be remembered as like one of the great first but we got two really great albums on that day. We got Jid and one of Jid's finest projects. Gunna get some major replay value out of that project as well too. Listen to both of those live for the first time. I mean, last week, we had Don Toliver dropping a great project, and we listened to that for the first time live here on the pod and got our initial reactions to that. But I don't know, this J. Cole one, there's going to be bars, there's going to be double entendres and all kinds of, lyrical schmirical, he's just going to be just like, oh man, going crazy over here. So we might have to lock in and plus we want to listen to it. So I might just have to throw that one on in the morning and listen to that, break it down a little bit beforehand, digest it. We need to, I don't know, pause, if that's the right way to phrase it, but we need to, sit with it, however you say it, it is what it is, but we may need to listen to it a couple times. So I don't know if we'll be able to necessarily listen to it. It may be one time of really going through it, but if we just take our time with it as well too, we could just do that. You know what? That's the solution, chat. We solved it. That's what it is. There is a pause button, for other, besides for things that we say. We can't actually pause like music and things like that as well too. I guess, who knows? I'm sure. Ooh, bingo card. J. Cole bingo card. Will he say pause as a lyric? I lock it in right now, chat. Hot take. I didn't listen to the freestyles. Call me a bad J. Cole fan. It is what it is. But I heard that he dropped them on the website I couldn't even put up. I might just go spend the dollar after saying this. After admitting that I couldn't spend the dollar, I might just have to now. Just as like a, just so I'm willing to be a guy that is willing to spend the dollar. But it's like, okay, I don't know. Am I going to go? And I'm already paying for the music that I listen to. We have Spotify. But then I saw somebody had it uploaded to YouTube as well, too. It hit our algorithm. And I was like, I don't know if I'm going to, not listen. I'm going to, am I going to listen to it for free? So maybe I'll be both, So it's not just me not wanting to listen. It kind of is, though. I kind of just want to listen to the fall off. We're going in, pause. We're going in fresh for the fall off. And we'll see what happens there. So it'll be, I guess, a comb through of J. Cole's next album on the live stream. We'll actually make sure to pause, go through the lyrics. We'll sit with it. We'll make sure to really, appreciate the project that he drops this Friday. Assuming it just doesn't, assuming we don't turn on, it's like trash, skip, get this out of here. But I guess we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. Well, we don't know what's going to happen. I think we do know. We do know. It's going to be great. So we are looking forward to that. You can tune in Friday night live here on the YouTube to watch us and hang out with us, and of course listen along with us as we check out J. Cole's newest project. Opening ceremonies for the Olympics. We could read the schedule all night. It is what it is. But we'll be back Friday, hanging out. Can't wait to see you guys then, and enjoy the next couple days. We'll see y'all later. Peace.